hit subscribe. Subscribe to my guy, Uncle D. Tell him Big Bad sent you.
Spurling. I'm an attorney here in Houston, Texas. An advocate for black men, largely because I am a black man. I'm a black father. I have black sons. Hey man, I do what I do.
What's up? Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. You guys, thank you so much for being with me here today. I appreciate you all. It's always good to be back. My man, Pooh Man 3138. Make sure that you, as soon as you log in, make sure you just say, "What's up, Uncle D? What's up?" Don't just be hanging out there loitering in the background like a vagrant, waiting for somebody to come out the gas station so you can hit them up from change. Don't do that. Make sure when you come in here, you announce yourself. You speak to people when you come in the room. This is my room. This is my living room. You done walked your funky tail into my living room, okay? And you make sure you speak to me. Say hi, hello, Uncle D. Say something. Don't just come in here like a phantom. What's wrong with you? Show some manners. Everybody in the chat room with good upbringing, type manners in the chat. Announce yourself. Damn it. Anyway, welcome to the broadcast. It's good to have everybody here, man. It's always a pleasure to be here with you guys. So, big day today in the immigration world. Right now, the temporary protected status, TPS, for Haitians and Syrians has ended, or really Haitians has ended, and the administration moved to terminate the Haiti's TPS designation. And the litigation temporarily delayed that, but after the Supreme Court's June 25th, 2026 ruling, the termination became effective today, July 27th, 2026. And this is a major change from the previous administration, which kept on extending TPS over and over again. TPS was supposed to be temporary, okay? It was created for emergencies, hurricanes, natural disasters, not forever and not for decades. TPS, i.e. temporary protected status, was never permanent. It was a humanitarian pause because the country was in crisis. And when TPS ends, the protections end. And work authorizations end. Deportation protection ends. Okay, that's the deal. And once the clock runs out, people either find another lawful status or they are removed. Okay, that's how that works. And let's be honest. Let's be honest about something else. Haiti right now, in my humble opinion, is a horrible place to be. Somebody type hellhole. Okay, I didn't say, I said hellhole, okay? I'm not using that profane language on my family-friendly broadcast. Somebody type hellhole. Haiti is a hellhole, and that's not disrespect, that's reality. You got Haitian gang members running the country. You got gang leaders literally nicknamed Barbecue, okay? You got a gang leader, the man's name is Barbecue, okay? People being unalive left and right. You got kidnappings, executions, no real government, no safety, no order. It's terrible. It's is Chicago on crack. That's what it is. Shout out to Chicago. Anytime somebody point to Chicago, y'all start saying, what about Haiti? That's what you need to do. Okay? Because compared to Haiti, Chicago is a Girl Scout picnic. Okay? But again, it's a terrible situation, terrible. But here's the hard truth. That doesn't mean that the United States has to absorb these people forever. And that's just the cold, hard truth. TPS was for people who couldn't go back because their country couldn't handle them temporarily. And now the government says the emergency is over, and whether we like it or not, that means that they got to go. Okay, and now let me explain TPS real simple. TPS isn't citizenship. It's not asylum. It's not a permanent right to be here in the United States. It's permission to stay for a while because your home country is in crisis. That's it. And a lot of these folk have been here for 10, 20, 30 years, and that alone tells you the program was never meant to last this long. Now, here's where people get uncomfortable. The truth is, most foundational Black Americans, and that's the Black people who've been here, that's what we used to call African Americans, what we call the American Negro. If y'all like to call us the American Negro, you uncomfortable with foundational Black American? It's really just a new name for the American Negro because we have so many people who come over here from other countries who are Black. They might be Haitian, they might be from Africa, et cetera, et cetera. We had to find a way to distinguish ourselves. And I like the term foundational Black American. It's very simple. You simply add the adjective foundational on top of Black American, and voila, there you go. But the bottom line is we shouldn't feel guilty. We're not protesting, and we shouldn't. Because here's the thing, we're not the only ones that don't want them here. I want you to understand something. See, other Caribbean countries don't want Haitians in their country either. I know that's hard to believe, right? But you need to let that sink in. So stop pretending that it's just Black Americans being cold or cruel. Everybody is saying no. And this doesn't apply to all Haitians, okay? I don't really know any Haitians. I met a couple in the DR, you know. I don't know any. I don't have anything personal. I'm just reading the tea leaves. I'm looking at what everybody says. I'm looking at the news reports. Okay, so I'm not talking about all Haitians across the board, but largely, people don't want Haitians in their country. Okay, and see, I'm prepared to say something that many foundational Black Americans aren't going to like. Maybe the Dominicans were telling the truth. Maybe the Bajans know something we don't. Maybe the Jamaicans have had time to do some observations and deductive reasoning and have come to conclusions that we didn't know. See, it's Black Americans with our goofy selves and our big open heart and our trying to, Black is Black. We the ones that feel moted right now. Somebody type moted in the chat room. Somebody type moted. 10 points for anybody who know what moted means. Somebody type moted. We moted. Okay, we feel moted. That's a throwback term from Los Angeles way back in the day. But look, not about it. Look, again, okay. This is not a racial stereotype, okay? All right, we're not trying to be cruel, okay? We're not talking about every Haitian person. But see, but they were telling the truth, okay, about the history of the Haitian state. Let's look at that. Let's look at the repeated pressure placed upon, and we'll go back to the Dominicans and their sovereignty, and the danger of pretending that every conflict involving Haitians and Dominicans can be reduced to racism, colorism, and anti-Blackness. Okay, now I'm just talking to y'all. You listening? Because the Dominicans told us, and the Dominicans on the internet, they barely speak English. Okay, and they are on the internet giving us, they telling Black Americans some stuff. They told us that their distrust didn't begin yesterday. They told us it wasn't simply about complexion. Historical records document Haitian military actions in the Eastern Territory in 1805. So the minute they stopped killing the French, they decided to go over to the DR. All right. And for 22 years, the Haitians ruled over the DR from 1822 to 1844, and they were not nice about it. And they had repeated campaigns to regain the Dominican Republic after Dominican independence. Shout out to Mick Stixon. Thank you so much. Okay, 1844, 1845, 1849, 1855 to 1856. Black Americans had never heard that history. But the thing is, we refused to listen because it didn't fit the racial story we already wanted to believe. We saw a darker population on one side, and we saw a highly mixed population on the other. We heard the Dominicans say, "Me no black," and decided the case was closed. We call them colorists. We call them confused. We accuse them of running away from the African ancestry. And sometimes that criticism is justified. Dominican society has its own record of colorism and prejudice and racial violence. I get that, okay? But we, as foundational Black Americans, we made the mistake of believing that prejudice was the entire explanation. It wasn't. We do that oftentimes with white folk. I know y'all don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. We just say they're racist. They don't like you because you didn't show up to work 52 times in a row, and you say they fired you because they're racist. No, it's because you tardy. That's why. Okay? So again, racism is everywhere. I will agree to that. It's not going anywhere. This is what we do over here. But there's always some more information that we could take in that could help alter and nuance that conclusion. So let's go back to the Dominicans. The Dominicans were also telling us that they remembered invasions, occupations, attempts at reconquest, cultural conflict, and a neighboring government that once claimed authority over their entire island. Now, we didn't understand what they said because we don't speak English. Well, I mean, we don't speak Spanish, and they don't speak English. You understand? All right, we refuse to separate Dominican fear of Haitian state power from Dominican prejudice against black skin. We applied the American standard, the racial system, to the Caribbean national conflict. We had never studied. We didn't know their history, but we judged them anyway. That was our mistake. And now, somebody type right now. And now, foundational Black Americans are learning the hard way because the same Haitian commenters have finally turned their same contempt towards us. They are literally saying the same thing about Black Americans that they have been saying about Dominicans. You literally had a Haitian woman went on a major public platform and called us dirty Black Americans in our country. Think about that. And then you have other Haitian voices entered the comment sections and defended the insult. They attacked our history. They questioned our culture and demanded that we remain silent because responding would supposedly mean attacking all Haitians. No. That's not how accountability works. You don't insult an entire lineage of people in their homeland and then hide behind your individual identity. You don't address foundational Black Americans collectively and then demand to be answered privately. You don't throw a public rock and suddenly discover the value of individual responsibility when the rock comes flying back at you. And see, this controversy exposed something else. Some Haitian voices, maybe not all, but enough, become extraordinarily bold towards foundational Black Americans, even though Black Americans had nothing to do with TPS. We didn't make that decision. We didn't issue the order. We didn't decide the litigation. We don't control the Department of Homeland Security, the Supreme Court of the White House, or immigration enforcement. It was the Supreme Court on June 25th, 2026, that ruled that in consolidated Haitian TPS litigation that the statute largely barred judicial review of the government's termination decision. In other words, the president can do it on his own. And now you got more than 300,000 Haitian TPS holders. Now they're facing the loss of work authorizations and protection removed. These people literally got to leave their houses that they paid for over the past 18, 19, 20 years. Think about that. You got a 30-year lease, 30-year mortgage, and you damn near finished paying for it, and you got to up and leave. You got to sell it. Somebody type sell it in the chat. Can you imagine that? You just paid for that car. Okay, you have that 7-year loan out on that car. You just paid 3 times the amount for it, and you got to leave it right there on the causeway. Think about that. This is what these people have to do. You have children here. You might have a wife. You have a husband. You got to leave all of them. Okay, and I understand that you're mad. Okay, but that was the action of the United States government, not the action of foundational Black Americans. Yet you have all this anger redirected towards us. You got white Americans making videos telling Haitians to go home and stop eating the cats and dogs. And the Haitian commenters ignore the white person in the video who made the statement and began attacking Black Americans under the video in the comment section. Think about that. That's crazy. You literally have white political power brokers. They're making immigration decisions, but Black Americans are treated like a safe target. And so they come after us. That's not resistance. That's displaced anger at the people thought least likely to impose consequences. In other words, you don't think we're going to do anything in response. And that's exactly why this relationship between Black Americans and Haitians, and generally speaking, a lot of people from the diaspora, that's why it's changing. See, foundational Black Americans, somebody type FBA in the chat room. I mean, I like the term. Again, to me, it's just another iteration of American Negro. It's people who are descended from slaves. It's people who own slaves. It's people who were here before 1865. It's people who were found here at the founding of this country. Okay? It's mixed Black people. It's Black people from jet black, blue black to light bright, damn near white. I'm just saying, we all come, foundational Black Americans is not necessarily a color. It is a lineage. A person could be lighter than me and still be an FBA. A person could be dark, pitch black, dark, and still be FBA. See, we don't do the tribes. We basically do a one-drop rule. You understand? But again, we as FBA are no longer accepting the idea that shared skin color creates an unlimited obligation, because we don't owe automatic solidarity to people who insult us. And we don't owe political protection to people who distinguish themselves from us when it flatters them. And then suddenly they rediscover their Black unity when they need help. Somebody type help in the chat room. You see? Look, I want you to think about this. You can't say I'm Haitian, not Black American, when you want distance from us, and then say, how can you Black Americans abandon your fellow Black people when you want our support? Think about that. You can't have it both ways. Either Haitians and foundational Black Americans are distinct people with different national histories and interests, in which case our relationship must be based upon mutual respect, or otherwise we belong to a broader Black family, in which case respect and loyalty must be bi-directional. You can't demand separation and entitlement at the same time. And let us deal with the present facts rather than hiding behind these slogans, okay? Because every time you start talking about Haitians, 1804, somebody type 1804 in the chat room, okay? Think about this. See, Haiti is dealing with institutional collapse. The World Bank reports that approximately 1.4 million people have been internally displaced by March 2026. That means they roving around their community, they roving around the country. They don't have anywhere else to stay. More than 5,500 people have been killed and over 2,600 injured by violence in 2025 alone. That's 206. That's a lot of deaths. Okay, approximately 5.4 million Haitians struggle to even get food. And the United States continues to classify Haiti as a level 4. Do not go there. Do not travel there. Okay, do not go to Cap Haitian. They keep telling you, because it's too much crime and kidnapping, unrest, terrorism, and severely limited state capacity. And that's not insults. Those are the conditions there. Okay, now that's what they're saying to American citizens who want to travel there. I don't know what it is for Haitians. It might be different. You're local. You're from there. But as far as American citizens, the American government says level 4, do not go. Okay, but here's the thing. You can't govern a modern country with revolutionary mythology. Somebody type 1804. You can't run police departments and courts, hospitals, schools, ports, utilities, and public institutions by repeatedly announcing what your ancestors did when they defeated the French in 1804. Winning a war in 1804 over 2 centuries ago doesn't operate a government today. Somebody type today in the chat room. At some point, that historical pride has to produce present competence. At some point, the Haitian political class and economic elite and diasporic leadership and civil institutions have to answer a basic question. How long can every present failure remain the fault of France and the United States and the Dominican Republic and racism and colorism and blaming everybody else? Foreign interference harmed Haiti. Got it. France's indemnity was exonerated. Got it. The United States occupied Haiti. Understood. International policy has often failed Haiti. Got it. Those are facts. Okay? But foreign governments didn't force every Haitian leader to mismanage the public institutions. Outsiders didn't make every politician in Haiti steal the money from the people. Okay? It didn't make all the gangs expand and every court fail or every public service collapse. History can explain the wound. It can't excuse refusing to treat it forever. And the regional governments are no longer pretending they have unlimited capacity to absorb the consequences. The Bahamas, think about that. And I'm talking about the ones that the other folk around them. Caribbean islands, the Bahamas. The Bahamas government's own records show repeated repatriation operations involving Haitians and nationally. They sent 105 back in November 2025. They sent another 114 back in 2026. The Bahamians don't want you. You got Black Americans feeling guilty, and those are your neighbors across the water. Jamaicans also repatriated Haitians' arrivals. You understand? These governments aren't governed by foundational Black Americans. Their immigration decisions can't be blamed on American racial politics. They all Black. I'm not saying that Haitians are inherently bad people. That's not what I'm saying. But it proves something more concrete. Countries throughout the region, including the Haitian neighbors, the Dominicans, and their across the water neighbors, are enforcing their borders and limiting irregular migration and refusing to accept the argument that Haiti's crisis creates an automatic right to enter and remain wherever Haitians choose. And again, these people got the nerve to call us dirty Black Americans. It's our fault. We're the bad guys and your own neighbors don't want you there. I'm just saying, y'all picked this fight. Look, every country makes that calculation. The Dominican Republic makes it because it shares the border and it carries the most immediate pressure. The Bahamas make it because irregular boats continue reaching into their territory. Jamaica makes it because it was limited, it has limited resources and a legal refugee process. And the United States makes it through immigration status, TPS decisions, asylum law, and enforcement power. We didn't have to let you up here in the first place. That's what you need to understand. And none of these countries is required to surrender its borders because Haiti is unstable. Compassion doesn't eliminate sovereignty, and human dignity doesn't create automatic citizenship. Temporary protection isn't permanent residence. And other countries, emergencies don't become an endless obligation for the American taxpayers. And see, that's the part that a lot of these Haitian advocates refuse to accept. They treat a humanitarian accommodation as though it creates a permanent ownership. And they act as though being allowed to remain temporarily means the country is morally forbidden from ever ending that arrangement. You thought we were going to forget y'all were here temporarily? That's like somebody sleeping on your couch. And they figure if they just make their bed, be quiet, and put their own food in the refrigerator, you'll forget they're there. That's not how that works. And I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. A lot of these same immigrant groups have said some very, very ugly things about Black Americans. You all have said some horrible things about foundational Black America. That's the only reason we notice y'all now. Y'all would have blended in fine. You all talk bad about our culture. You talk about who we are. You call us slaves. You bring up more racist talking points than the white boys on Reddit. You openly say you don't like us. You don't respect us. You distance yourselves from us whenever you get a chance. And now you want to know why Black Americans are not showing up. Or hell, why some Black Americans are cheering immigration on. Because see, normally we don't do that. We've always had the back of Black people across the diaspora, whether we're talking about South Africa or anywhere else. We always have. Historically, we always ride for Black people. But y'all have messed that up. But you don't get to disrespect my people. You don't get to trash my fellow Black Americans and our culture, and then say you're not like us, and then expect us to save you when things go left. And see, at this point, it's not even anger, it's indifference. We're unbothered. You go your way, we'll go ours. And see, this is what it looks like when foundational Black Americans stop carrying everybody else's problems. And see, the African diaspora and the Black diaspora are learning the hard way that foundational Black Americans are not obligated to provide unconditional solidarity to groups of Black folk and African folks who publicly disrespect us. They're also learning that the relationship between Haiti and some of these other countries, including the Dominican Republic, is far more historically complicated than colorism. We can't no longer say that the Dominicans just hate the Haitians if hell the Haitians are saying the same thing about us that they say about the Dominican. We don't hate them. We don't even know them. And the thing is, foundational Black Americans aren't obligated to take up this fight simply because Haitians are Black. This is our country. Let me run that back to you all again. The United States of America is our country. We are not guests here. There's nowhere to deport us to. If white folk try to deport Black Americans, we would fight them, and they know it. Because we are Americans, and the most American thing you can do is fight. That's what we do. You may not like it, go home. White Americans fight, Black Americans fight, Mexican Americans fight, we fight. That's what we do. Hell, you're not a real American if you don't fight. All our sports are based around fighting. We took soccer and we took football and turned it into a war sport. But more importantly, our ancestors were enslaved here. We fought wars here. We survived unfair system of what we call Jim Crow for 100 years here. We built our Black colleges and our churches and our neighborhoods and our other institutions here. 20% of the United States military is Black American. And we fought here. We forced the United States to expand the meaning of citizenship and equality. And Black civil rights movements confronted segregation through boycotts, sit-ins, freedom rides, marches, lawsuits, political organizations, and a lot of them died for it. The Civil Rights Act, you all make a big deal about how it's not important anymore. It prohibited discrimination in public accommodation. You couldn't even walk in the building, in the front door, or you couldn't get it's not that the jobs weren't available. You couldn't get the job. You couldn't go to the school. Even if you wanted to vote a politician in, you couldn't vote at all until we attacked all that in the 1964 discrimination, Civil Rights Act and the 1965 Voting Act. This is what we did. We did it. And see, the thing is, those legal protections didn't remain inside the Black American community. Immigrants from Haiti benefited from it. Africans and Caribbeans and Latin America, people from Asia benefited from it. People from Eastern European countries benefited from our hard work. They literally entered the country legally transformed by the efforts of foundational Black American freedom fighters. And they benefited from workplaces that were now open to them, and schools and public facilities and institutions that could no longer openly discriminate as they had done before. And look, here's the thing about it. Black Americans aren't making you pay a toll when you come in. That's not what we're not asking you for obedience. You do need to know whose blood helped change the law, though. So coming to this country, to the United States of America, somebody type America first in the chat room. Somebody type FBA in the chat room. Somebody type Heritage Americans in the chat room. Coming to this country, benefiting from the legal and cultural ground foundational Black Americans fought to secure it, and then you got the nerve to talk bad about us? That's disrespectful. And it's historically ignorant. You wouldn't go to anybody else's country and talk about an indigenous people in that country. You wouldn't do that, but you come over here and talk bad about foundational Black America. That's historically ignorant. It's arrogant. As I said, it's disrespectful, and it demonstrates a very entitled people, right? And now Black Americans are now beginning to recognize, we see you for who you are. You don't come into another people's homeland and insult the people whose struggle helped open the door and then demand those same people fight to keep you inside. That's crazy. You don't reject Black Americans' identity while demanding Black American solidarity. That's manipulation. And you don't remain quiet toward people exercising governmental power over you and then turn around and get reckless toward the people who had nothing to do with the decision. That's just cowardly displacement. And you don't keep pointing at everybody else when the country you defend is unable to provide basic security for its own population. Look, it's sad, it's dangerous, it's tragic, but they still got to go. Somebody type got to go. And that's how we starting today. You got to go. You got to go. Maybe if y'all had been a little nicer to us, maybe if y'all had been a little bit more respectful, we'd be out in the streets marching for you or something, but that's not what you did. That's not what you did. You didn't do that. You wanted to get ignorant. You said we didn't have any power, but what we do have is the power of the couch. In other words, we have a power to abstain. We not here to help. And that's what you see happening. Now, I got a couple of videos I want to share with you all, as always. And I want you all to make sure you kick back and enjoy it. I'm going to do my best not to comment. You know, I've already tried, and it's not helpful. I try not to comment, but, you know, sometimes I have to say something because I'll be saying something. But anyway, let's go ahead and look at a couple of these videos. You all hit the #1 button. Let's get it cracking. Let's see if we can get one rolled up. The videos are not cooperating today. All right, let me see here. Yeah, buddy.
Now, at 32, he's back in Haiti with his American wife. He says he committed a crime, and now he's living the consequences.
I still don't feel like I'm...
What? Hold on a minute. You said that kind of quick. You committed a crime. So you committed a crime. Okay, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I still feel like I'm just roaming. I feel uneasy.
For the past few weeks, Idris Michelin and his wife Emil have been walking the streets of Haiti, trying to mentally accept that this is now home.
I lived in the country 30 years. I never got in trouble, but I made a mistake. My morals became corrupted.
Idris was the...
I've been living in this country 52 years and I never got in trouble. Okay, so but go ahead, keep going.
Deported after serving 25 months in federal prison and 9 months in ICE custody. He was convicted of getting an illegal PPP loan back in the summer of 2020. He was living in the United States as a permanent resident, graduated from Southridge High School, and went on to Miami-Dade College. He was allowed.
You thought it was a good idea. Is this what you thought? You thought it was a good idea to get that PPP money. Not a good idea.
Licensed realtor and insurance broker. After serving his sentence earlier this month, Michelin was deported to Haiti on a flight with 120 people.
Your ankles are getting cut up. Your hands are shackled together. You know, they're telling you, hey, if there's a plane crash, you're going to grab this from here and you're going to put this on your face. How? He
says once in Cap Haitian, they were given $100 and released to family. His wife was waiting.
There's people that left only 2-3 years ago that are afraid to come here. And she's here.
The temporary protective status, or TPS, for more than 330,000 Haitians will end on February 3rd of next year. Without any other immigration protections, some may find themselves, like Idris, back in Haiti.
It's very limited here. And now that I'm here, you know, to my country where my flag is, the people are wonderful. The people work hard. But they're trying to overcome obstacles, and I'm here trying to overcome obstacles as well.
I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I kind of feel bad for her, but I know what y'all thinking. Like, okay, well, she didn't do it.
Somebody type work harder in the chat room. That's what y'all told us to do. Y'all told us to work harder. We working hard. We're doing the best we can. But again, sometimes working harder doesn't help, sir. Shout out to Telescope. Thank you so much. We'll let this video keep playing. Go ahead.
What she needed to do to get her citizenship, blah, blah, blah. But she's been living here since she was 5 years old. She probably had no idea that she was supposed to do anything as far as becoming an actual citizen. I mean, that's a hell of a wake-up call. But I feel like this should also be a wake-up call to anybody who's actually from Haiti or anywhere in the Caribbean or anywhere around the world that looks similar to that, or where there's a good portion of their society that has to live that way. I feel like this should be a wake-up call for them, because this should show you like your people and your country of origin really needs help. It really needs some type of stability. Like she said, it's completely lawless out there. Like she said, she got raped her first week back. She said that there's like no government. People just run rampant. It's like hard to find food. Like there's no jobs. Like this should be a.
I mean, it sounded to me like they need some black on black crime down there in Haiti. They need some black on black crime. It sounded to me like, you know, if the law don't work, okay, to me, okay, and I know we against black on black crime, but it sounds like y'all need some of this black on black crime that we have here in the United States of America, where we kind of take control of things. And you know, somebody type Chicago. They need to get some of them YNs from Chicago and drop them off down there to help y'all out. If y'all don't know how to deal with gangsters and so on and so forth, because it doesn't seem like y'all doing a good job at it. If your women, as soon as they getting off the plane, these sort of things are happening to them. You understand? I'm just saying, men of Haiti, men of Haitian culture, break your flags out. This is you know, this is what y'all tell us, since you all always have something to say about our culture. Sounds like, you know, you need some advice too, okay? Because you know, this is what it sounds like to me. All right, let's keep listening.
Wake up call for people who are actually from Haiti, like, or any country that looks like that, because and y'all flee, y'all come, y'all go here, there, and everywhere, but then you leave behind your country of origin. And I understand, like, and it's like it's funny to me, because it's not funny, but it's like it's interesting to me, because one of the thing. The jabs that they throw at Black America is, well, at least I have a home to go back. But most of the people who say that, home looks just like what she showed us. So, I mean, that's not even a home that you even want to go back to. And I'm not saying that to be a bitch, but what I am saying is that it's going to take.
You're not being a B, baby. You're not being a B. Watch your little language. You cute, but you can't be cussing on my broadcast. Shout out to Crystal Roll. Can't be cussing on Uncle D's broadcast, because we are family friendly up in here. But again, we get the point. We understand what you're saying, baby. We get what you're saying. And I want y'all to check out another video that I found to be quite interesting. And the reason I think I find it quite interesting is because this is an example of a white fella And he has some very, very poignant words for the people of for some folk who are talking to black people. Well, actually, in this particular situation, this is a white man, and he's basically going in on the Haitians. And then this young lady points out that the Haitians got all the smoke for black Americans. Listen to the video.
And I want to know why are these people being coddled and pampered and giving us a beautiful life, a life better than I live, off my tax dollars.
So this is a hot heritage American that's at a town hall meeting, basically talking about immigrants and, you know, the Haitians, I'm guessing, that lives in his part of town or in the city and county and state that he lives in, and how they're trying to co-opt the black American plight to further, you know, get benefits, have access, resources, so on and so forth. And, you know, it's just so funny because I never see them making videos about white people, and these are the ones that literally are going to town hall meetings by the droves to.
And again, you know, the reason they pick on foundational black Americans is because we're an easy target. They don't think we'll do anything about it. You know, they like to tell us we don't have a country and we don't have a culture and these sort of things. And we, for the most part, just ignore folk like that because we like old people like, yeah, you'll learn. Go on here. Keep on going. You'll learn. And see, now they learning. See, let me tell y'all something. Sometimes, you know, and I know this might sound a little harsh. When you, and I'm going to use a little, I don't want to use profanity, okay? But I'm going to use a little profanity. But I'm going to use a word from the Bible. I'm going to use the word for donkey, okay? Sometimes when you see somebody getting their ass whooped, they're not the victim. That's just karma dog walking their ass. That's what you see happening to Haitians right now. That's karma dog walking y'all. Because y'all have been really nasty to black Americans. You have been really, really nasty. I don't know any Haitians, don't have anything personal against Haitians. I, for the most part, just thought that, you know, they black people like everybody else. They were the ones that made, I mean, I'm cool with the flag. Whip your flag out. Whip your flag out. I don't care about that. But the minute you start talking bad about black Americans, dirty black, so you talking about me? You talking about my sons? They're black Americans. You talk about my mama, my grandma, my granddaddy, that's who you talk about, all of it. We all, did you just throw us out there like that? You don't think white folk listen to that and they'll use that against us? I'm just saying. You're becoming a problem. Somebody told me to stop. I said that's a biblical word. Keeping it plain 2023. I said the A word. That's in the Bible. Okay, because the Bible uses that word. But now don't get me distracted. But I'm gonna stop. I ain't gonna say nothing else. But they understood what I meant. That's they getting dog walked. That's not karma. Okay, that's karma dog walking them, right? In my opinion. Let's keep going.
Protest against them. These are the ones white American people are primarily in positions of power and in positions of authority to sign bills, to pass legislation, to literally control the borders. Like, this is who is sending them back home, yet you don't see them doing their think pieces, doing their panels, calling them dirty white Americans. You don't see that.
No, don't say nothing to the white people. They don't say nothing to them. No, I don't. They don't say nothing. They just got all the smoke for us dirty black Americans. You don't have no smoke for the white folk, right? They barely say anything about the Dominicans, but it's the black Americans that you got. We haven't done anything to you all. We ain't done nothing to you, okay?
You see them attacking black Americans so much so that even in the comment section of this video, I just scrolled a couple comments and I seen some comments and I was like, you gotta be motherfucking kidding me. Let me show y'all.
You said a cuss word. Don't be cussing on. They don't want you cussing on the broadcast, man.
Show y'all. It's above me now. It gets to a point.
Yeah.
Okay, look at this. FBA, just like the white man. Black Americans ain't shit. Can't even raise your kids. They unalive each other. Black Americans, the new triple K. And then
I mean, but Haiti got a whole internal civil war going on. You worried about Black Americans unaliving each other? What are you talking about? And how do you know all the Black on Black crime in America is Black Americans unaliving other Black Americans? If you go places like New Jersey and New York City and South Florida, a lot of those people aren't even Black Americans. How you know they're not Caribbeans and Africans unaliving each other? Have you looked at the basic criminal statute at some of these places like DC? I'm just saying.
it's a thread of them talking about Black Americans. Look at African Americans. LOL, so weak. Y'all scrambling at an opportunity to suck YTD. Tell me about it. Now it's all about y'all supposed to read. Like, how is it y'all? And there were literally so many more comments disparaging, demeaning, and talking down on Black Americans underneath a post of a white man saying that Haitians are cosplaying, co-opting, and colonizing the Black American experience.
I mean, I just want y'all to pause. Black folk, Black America. The white man is all the white people. Shout out to all the white people in the chat room. This is for y'all. We catching strays for you all. You white folks got talking bad about these Haitians, and the Haitians are talking bad about. We didn't do nothing. We just trying to enjoy the aftermath of Juneteenth. We just want Juneteenth and Essence Festival back. And now we catching all this. What do? We didn't even do nothing to these people. Most Black people can't even point Haiti out on the map. They don't even know where it is. You understand? What do we do? What did we do? Why are y'all picking on us? What did we do? We didn't even do nothing. Y'all got all this smoke for us. I don't understand. Golly, that's crazy to me, man. But I know why.
You know Shine, the rapper, the one who got convicted of a murder here in the States, then he got deported back to Belize, and then he ran for office in Belize. Now he a diplomat. He got diplomatic immunity when he comes to the States now. Why y'all say us, we can just do better, why we can't just work harder and do better? Why y'all can't just go back to y'all country and do like Shine did? Just asking.
Why do immigrants always have so much smoke for Black Americans? Haitians, what's up? What is y'all mad at us for? We don't make the rules here. Why do y'all love to say, all immigrants love to say, y'all next, y'all gonna get deported? Bitch, no, we're not. We ain't never, ever gonna get motherfucking deported. If they was gonna do that, why they ain't do it after slavery? They can't. We ain't got nowhere to get deported to. Y'all just jealous because y'all not from America.
No, it's not that we don't have anywhere to get deported to. They could send us to Antarctica. They just won't do it because we will fight them. You see what I'm saying? That's what you got to understand. And white Americans know we'll fight them because we're Americans. That's what Americans do. But go
Y'all want to be here so bad and then say, oh, I don't like America. I don't like it. Back at my home. Okay, go the fuck home then. What you saying about that you need to go home? Go home. Quit saying I somewhere. So if I fled.
You got to watch your little potty mouth, ma'am. I watched the potty mouth. Somebody type potty mouth in the chat room, but she's making some points with the potty mouth.
To Mexico, then my homeland will be America. They would send me back to America. I don't hate the player, baby. I hate the game. Y'all mad because y'all wasn't slaves in America. And it was fucked up for us, but we did what we had to do. Y'all said we dirty Black Americans. Y'all hate us so bad. We have no...
Y'all are never... Black Americans are never going to forget that. That's how most Black Americans have come to know Haitian. We don't know, we know Jamaicans because they got reggae and smoke weed. We know Dominicans because that's the place where the boat dropped us off at on the Eastern Dominican tour. We know the Bahamas because that's where we go. It's close to Miami. You know, we know that. The only reason Black Americans even know Haitians now is because y'all are the ones that y'all speak funny and call us dirty Black Americans. They know Nicki Minaj from Trinidad. That's it. Okay? That's it. This is what you're known for throughout Black American communities. As the people who called us dirty. It's people in Alabama and Mississippi right now. Don't even know what island is which, but they know them Haitians called us dirty Black Americans. That's what you're known for. You're never going to live that down. That is part of who you are. You are the rude people from the Caribbean. We used to think all Caribbean people were nice. That's what we thought. We thought they were nice and hospitable. We didn't know how nasty and mean you all are.
Y'all don't have a coach. Go home. Sayonara, sucker.
We're not African Americans. We're Sudanese Americans.
Yes.
We are African Americans because Sudan is in Africa. So we're African Americans.
I know that.
That's a whole separate question. Because Dr. Omar actually
we are African
created his own
by the term. And that's why some Black Americans say they don't want to be called African Americans because they don't feel like they have any ties to Africa.
We don't really have any ties to Africa, baby. We have some African heritage. That is our ancient homeland. Okay, we have African DNA, but some of us have Scottish DNA. Some of us have indigenous Native American DNA. Some of us have Irish DNA. Hell, some people got Asian DNA. I like the African part of us. I think that is the part that makes us fantastic and unique. It's definitely why we are so prolific in so many of the things that we do. But the bottom line is we are not Africans. Africa is a continent. It has 54 different nationalities or nations. We are North Americans. Okay, we just like the Canadians and the Mexicans. We're North Americans. We are. Our nationality is United States of America. Our ethnicity is foundational Black American or the American Negro, however you want to call it. But the bottom line is we are not Africans. And let me tell you something, the Africans will tell you that we are not Africans when they're being truthful and they don't want something. It's only when they want something that they'll tell you that we're African. Brother, that's when that comes out.
I think reparations should be different for African Americans compared to us because we just got here.
No, we don't.
They
need
deserve most of reparations. I'm gonna tell you this right now.
We shouldn't even be in the conversation of reparations because we're not descendants of slavery. Reparations from the how we were colonized in Africa. Yeah, we can get reparations from France.
No, you're a descendant from the people who helped capture us and sell us into slavery. Let's not forget that. So you not only are you not in the reparations conversations, you are also the culprits. Somebody type culprit in the chat room. You are the supplier of the stolen goods. Let's keep going.
And
Britain and them, but we don't need to get reparations here at all.
Yeah, we'll never get it.
Can I ask this question? What are the nuances or parallels to the South Sudanese or African?
But again, see, this is what I'm saying. You know, when we start talking about you know, as Black Americans, we had to learn we're all Black, right? That's what we used to think. We're all Black. Hey, you know, black, you need to stick together. And then they turn around telling us, oh no, we're not Black. We're Nigerian or we're Sudanese. Okay, cool. All right, we're Haitian. All right, cool, no problem. Great. But now they want to be Black again. Okay, now that the heat has gotten kicked up, now they want to be Black again. I just want y'all to peep that out. You know, and we have to be mindful of that. They set the rules. Now that it's gotten hot, somebody type hot in the chat room. Now that it's gotten hot. Now, okay, today they want to be Black again. They want to go back to the Black unity. And what they haven't realized is the Black Americans are like, nah, y'all already told your draws with us. We good. We good over here. Okay, we're not going to go back to that. That phase is over. Okay, we're done with that. Shout out to Love Possible. And I just want you guys to be reminded of something. Black Americans, to the tune of 92% of Black women and 79% of Black men voted for Kamala Harris. So this wouldn't be happening. Okay, this wouldn't be happening had Black Americans got their way. Now, I want y'all to be reminded. Somebody type Haitians for Trump in the chat room, okay? Because somebody type Haitians for Trump. So where are the Haitians for Trump at? Let me let you hear them. So, before y'all have any smoke for Foundation of Black Americans, I want y'all to look up that phone number for Haitians for Trump, and I want you to ask them. Okay, so I'm gonna shout out to Love Possibility and shout out to Black Sam. Again, this is what you did. You are mad at Foundation of Black Americans because what we are doing is sitting on the couch, or at worst saying we told you so, and y'all got a whole group called Haitians for Trump. Okay, I'm just saying. You need to redirect that smoke to somebody else, in my humble opinion. You need to redirect your smoke to yourselves, okay? Because you are the one that has a country you don't want to go back to. That's not us. We didn't do that. What do we do? We ain't come to your country. We ain't come over to ask for TPS and trying to get a house in Cap Haitian and stay there. We didn't do that. Port-au-Prince. We ain't trying to stay in Port-au-Prince. Y'all want to come stay over here with us. We didn't even do nothing. That's all this smoke about. And the white folk talk bad about you. Don't say nothing about them, but you got all this smoke for Black Americans. What's up with that? You understand? I'm just trying. What's up with that? Real talk. I mean, come on now. What's up with that? Huh? Yeah, I'm saying, and like I said earlier,
the Black Americans, how y'all doing, baby?
I think at this point, I think I've shown enough videos. Are we ready, Foundational Black Americans, to accept the truth? I think we owe these Dominicans apologies. Because, Dominicans don't speak English. They speak Spanish. Now, I know some of them speak English up in the Bronx. They'll tell you too. But they don't speak English. So they really couldn't say their side of the story. And so now you do have some Dominicans who do speak English, and they're speaking. And here's one of them right now. I want you to hear what she got to say. I want y'all to listen to what she had, because she talks directly. She called us by FBA, Black Americans. Listen to what she's saying and tell me where she's wrong. Listen.
Let me send a quick message to the FBAs and the Black Americans. How y'all doing, baby boys and girls?
Hey.
See, now you understand what the fuck the Dominican people's going through, right? In the Dominican Republic. Now you understand. Now you get it. Now you know that it's not about color. See what happened? You see how a bitch trying to ass right now? Haitians build America. Oh, Black Americans this, Black Americans that. You see what the fuck we're saying? Now they're calling Black Americans xenophobic, prejudice. Shit, these motherfuckers is calling y'all racist for trying to protect and preserve your identity. And it's like we've been trying to tell y'all, like we've been told y'all. As soon as you tell these motherfuckers,
I know we y'all don't speak English. We didn't know what y'all was trying to say. We thought y'all was just being racist and colorist. We didn't know. We didn't know y'all was like. We didn't know. We thought y'all didn't like them because they was dark skinned, and we'd seen that playbook before, and so we just naturally jump on the side of the dark skinned Black people. Even if you're light skinned in America, you're gonna automatically be on the side of the dark skinned person. And so we thought y'all was being racist, and then come to find out they calling us the same names they calling y'all. Damn. We sorry a little bit. My bad.
they start throwing false allegations. They start to accuse you of being racist. They start to be disrespectful. They're very demanding. They get entitled. Like, we've been told y'all this. But then all y'all do is call us racist. Now look at that. Now y'all the racist. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Now, it's not all Haitians who act like that, but the majority of them are like this. I'm just experiencing a little bit of what Dominican people go through in the Dominican Republic. Because not only that, we have a president who is actually...
She talking fast as hell. She is talking fast as hell, baby. You speak fast English. I bet your Spanish is super fast. But bottom line, she said, we just experienced a little bit. He said the Haitians, the Dominicans are fed up. They get it all the time. She is telling us. She is telling her. Go ahead, keep telling us.
Be pro-Haitian, and he's allowing Haitians to do whatever the fuck they want in the Dominican Republic. You guys are getting a gist. So imagine seeing that disrespectful speech every day. This happens every day in the Dominican. They're greedy people. And look at all the benefits they got over here. Look at all the opportunities they got in the United States of America. They get the same opportunities over there in the Dominican Republic.
She said they greedy people. Listen to what she said. She said they are greedy people. This ain't me. This is what the Haitians, this is what your neighbors are saying about you. Black Americans don't know enough about Haitians to even, we just know what we see. We just know y'all called us dirty Black Americans. Shout out to the everyday Muslim. Shout out to Urban Zahara. Listen to what this is what your neighbors are saying about you.
Imagine seeing that disrespectful speech every day. This happens every day in the Dominican Republic. You see? And even after all of that, they got all this money. They never want to go home. They're greedy people. And look at all the benefits they got over here. Look at all the opportunities they got in the United States of America. They get the same opportunities over there in the Dominican Republic. They thrive. They make money. Millionaires here, millionaires over there. And somehow everybody hates Haitians and everybody is anti-Haitian. Like, I've never denied the minor cases of classism, colorism, you know, racism. I never denied that. I know that there are Dominicans who fit into those categories, but it's not the majority. And that is not a major factor in the Dominican Republic. And you see now, the script has flipped, and now the same thing they say about Dominicans, they're saying about you guys. Like, wake the fuck up, y'all. It's never been about color. It's about the disrespect on your own fucking territory, okay? And abuse of the fucking system.
The disrespect on your own effing territory. Okay, I didn't say the cuss word, she did, but I'm just saying, because this is the same problem the foundational Black Americans have with Haitians. We have the same problem with any other group of people. You come to our country to disrespect them. You only hear it because we're the ones that got it laid out and nice like this for you to live. Just think about that. It's the disrespect for me. And again, it's our fault because we are the ones that study opening our doors up. If you Black, you must be you down, right? This is where we are. This is what we've been doing for years. Okay. Now, what's actually going on in the Dominican Republic? Why are they mad at them now? Listen.
Under the influence.
This is, again, I want to remind you that Dominicans don't speak English. They speak Spanish. So now you just now got some Dominicans who speak English and have TikTok and social media, and they have scholarship. And now they talking. So this is the truth. This is what their neighbors say. This is a lesson for us. This is a lesson for foundational Black Americans. Shout out to Secrets We Keep. Stop open all kinfolk, all skinfolk ain't kinfolk. We should have believed their neighbors. Okay? It's two sides of every story, and then there's the truth. And now that we starting to get both sides of every story, and we starting to see how we were treated, now we can develop our own opinions about some of these people who come from the diaspora. Let's keep listening. Listen to what she said.
Stabbed her several times in the back and in the head under the influence. Anyway, Haitian woman kills a Dominican woman and sets her on fire in Santiago. Undocumented Haitian arrested for death threats and harassing a minor by phone in Santiago. Haitian man kills Maestro Nining in violent incident in Higüey. Haitian man arrested in Dajabon. He is the prime suspect of violence assault against an 86-year-old woman. Haitian man wanted for escaping the prison in Benin. This man was supposed to do 15 years in prison for homicide. He is armed and extremely dangerous. Haitian fugitive accused of killing a young person for a motorcycle in La Romana.
All right, so again, this young woman who is of Dominican descent, or maybe she lives in New York, is going over all the crimes that the Haitians are committing in the DR. Now, again, these are the same people that come to the United States and tell us as Black Americans, as Haitians, tell us, what about the Black on Black crime in America? And they play victim like we're the bad guys. We're the dirty Black Americans, but your own neighbors. This is what you're doing to your own neighbors. You go over there from your country and this is what this lady is saying. This is their business. I'm just pointing it out to you. So all the Black American people feeling guilty about TPS ending, and you feel the need to maybe get up off your couch, okay, and hop in your Mercedes-Benz or your BMW and go down to Little Haiti and hold up a sign and protest. I want you to understand the big picture. Who are you protesting for? This is what their neighbors are saying about them. If the Jamaicans are sending them back home, if the Bahamians are sending them back home, if foundational Black Americans haven't known nothing about Haiti, the first thing we learned about these folks is that they call us dirty Black Americans and say we have no culture. Maybe it's not just us. Okay, maybe it's not just us. Maybe we as foundational Black Americans here in our homeland aren't the bad guys just because these foreigners come over here and tell us we have no culture or somehow we are defective. Maybe it's not us. If their own neighbors are saying this about them, and this is what they're doing in their own neighboring country, maybe we need to let this criticism coming from these Haitians and also these other people from diaspora, maybe we need to just let that roll off us like water off a duck's back. I'm just saying, because see, they got us around here feeling bad. A lot of these Caribbeans and Africans, they come to this country and they have foundational Black Americans. We already got chronic low self-esteem, right? And now you want to make us feel bad by saying we don't have a country, we don't have a culture, we don't have this, we don't. Why you living under our culture? Maybe it's not us, maybe it's them. Let's keep listening to the broadcast.
Haitians attack pork vendor in Bonao. They tie him up, attack him with machetes, and then flee the scene in motorcycle. Haitian woman attacks a child for a couple of pesos and burns his hand. Haitian man captured for attempted sexual abuse. A Haitian assaulted a woman, killed her husband in front of her and her daughter. 3 Haitians injured a man for telling them not to smoke in front of his store. Haitian man kills Dominican woman in Higüey. Her son tries to fight him off. He stabs him with machetes, and now he is seriously injured. A couple of Haitian men.
Now, again, is it really America's fault or France's fault that Haiti is the way it is? Because it seemed to me, just respectfully, it seemed to me when you put these, because I don't go to Miami, but I heard about some of the Miami gangs they got going on down there. Okay, you all are mad at us because somebody called you an African booty scratcher or whatever, and this is the stuff you doing in the Dominican Republic. Sounds like a lot. It sounds like y'all just tear up people's countries. I'm just saying. That's what it sounds like to me. I'm just pointing that out. Sounds like y'all go places to tear up people's country and then complain about it when they want to put you out. Did you hear what that lady said? A man said, stop smoking cigarettes in front of my store. And the Haitians killed a man that owned the store for telling them to stop smoking cigarettes. Think about that. That's a lot of entitlement. And we wonder why the Haitians are getting put out and sent back to Haiti. I'm just saying, I don't know Haitians personally. Okay. I got much love for Black people, generally speaking. I want to see you do well in this country. But what you can't do is come over here and specifically talk reckless about foundational Black Americans and disparage our reputation and talk bad about and think we're not going to say something back. We have to, because if we allow you to get away with that rhetoric and talking crazy about us, then there's some crazy white folk on the white folk side that'll pick that same rhetoric up and then use it against us. So you literally make our life harder. You see, because all they see is a Black voice and a Black face saying it, and they will take that and they will become a police officer or a politician, and they say, see, it's okay to treat Black Americans bad. Even Black people say that they're bad. I just want you to keep that in mind. So we have to check you. And so in learning who you are, this is what your neighbor is saying about you.
And brutally beat a Dominican man to death. They stabbed him with machetes 8 times, and they set him on fire, and I had to blur their image because it was very disturbing. Haitian man accused of sexually abusing a special needs Dominican minor and then recording it. Clearly, Haitian lives only matter outside of Haiti.
Well, I mean, again, like I say, I think we might owe these Dominicans a bit of an apology, because it seems to me we lost a lot in the translation. What I'm saying is they don't speak English, and so Haitians do speak English along with several other languages. So we're able to understand them and their scholarship and their leaders. What we don't understand is the Dominican side of the story, who are their neighbors, and now we're learning. We are learning some truths, about Haitians. And I don't want Black Americans to feel guilty about not feeling guilty about these people being sent home.
Father got into a huge debate that turned into a huge fight that turned into me not being able to come over to the crib no more over me defending Haitians. Because you could not tell Black Americans nothing about Haitians. We would go to bat for the Haitians.
Yes,
I can speak for them. I can speak for Black people. We want y'all to have this great story. We want y'all to be great.
We do.
Right? And he would tell me.
Somebody type 1804 in the chat room, man. We got a movie out about that. Brother Tariq Nasheed put a movie out about it. We want to see you win. Okay? That we was with it. You can't say nothing bad about Haitians, the Black Americans, 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. But now, somebody type right now, y'all have shown y'all whole butt. And now we like, hold on a minute. Who are, what? Maybe we didn't understand. Let's keep listening. She talking about she's arguing with her ex-boyfriend's father about Haitians. She trying to tell him one, and he trying to explain something he would know. This is a Black American woman who was dating a Dominican man, and she's basically telling us the story about how when she was dealing with her Dominican boyfriend, she got in an argument about the Haitian relationship between the Dominican and the dad said, look, you're not even allowed in my house anymore. Let's listen to what she has to say.
So, me and my Dominican ex-boyfriend's father got into a huge debate that turned into a huge fight that turned into me not being able to come over to the crib no more over me defending Haitians. Because you could not tell Black Americans nothing about Haitians. We would go to bat for the Haitians. I can speak for them. I can speak for Black people. We want y'all to have this great story. We want y'all to be great, right? And he would tell me, his father, God, G, if you ever see this video. Anyway, his father would say, like, you know what? Trust me, you're going to learn. You're going to learn. It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with anti-Blackness. You don't know these people.
A quick message to the FBAs of the Black Americans. How y'all doing, baby boys and girls? See?
They eating us up in the comments. The Dominicans are letting us have. They telling us. We understand. Thank you so much. I'm not gonna keep playing all these videos, okay? Because it's some left. I want to talk about the me no black, okay? I want to examine that because that's been an easy out, right? Because now they're trying to use the me no African on us. And whether you all recognize this or not, me no black and me no African is pretty much the same thing. Think about that. You know how now the Black Americans said, no, I'm not African American. I'm a foundational Black American. They said, oh no, you're African. Oh, y'all just don't want, y'all just want to hide from your blackness. Me no black and me no African is the same thing. I just want y'all to think about that. Okay, now y'all hold on to that. And somebody else type 1804 in the chat room, because we're going to talk about some truth and you're going to learn something. Okay, you're going to learn something. I expect you to learn, so you better learn something. If you don't learn something from this, you're just hard-headed. But somebody type 1804 in the chat, because there's some truths that we don't talk about. Okay, because see, Haitians always use 1804 as a shield. Oh, I took the PPP loan, 1804. Oh, we invaded your company, 1804. Oh, we took over the neighborhood, 1804. They use it as a shield. Okay, and now I want to deal honestly with this 1804 revolution, because whenever Haitians are asked difficult questions about where Haiti is today, somebody pulls out the Haitian Revolution as if, you know, that one event settles every argument. We defeated the French, 1804. We freed ourselves, 1804. We created the first Black Republic, 1804. Fine. That was an extraordinary historical achievement. Great. Nobody denied it. Not trying to minimize it or take away from Haiti. But 1804 isn't a shield against accountability. It doesn't erase what happens after the military victory. It doesn't excuse everything that followed independence. And it doesn't create a permanent moral debt that foundational Black Americans are obligated to pay from now on in perpetuity. The Haitian Revolution began with the massive uprising of enslaved people in northern Saint-Domingue on August 22nd, 1791. Now, what followed was not a weekend rebellion, okay? All right? It was nearly 13 years of slave revolt, civil war, racial conflict, imperial warfare, shifting alliances, and foreign intervention involving France, Britain, Spain, the white colonialists, free people of color, formerly enslaved soldiers, competing Black military leaders. Everybody got in on it. And the final major battle victory came on November 18th, 1803, when a French commander surrendered the following day, and the remaining French forces were evacuated. Listen to that. The remaining French forces were evacuated. That's the military. So the French military was evacuated on November 19th, 1803. They got up out of there. War's won, right? Right? So on January 1st, 1804, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, somebody type Dessalines in the clear, he declared Haiti's independence. Okay? I want you to listen. We're learning something. We celebrate this man, Dessalines, and as Black America, we see he's a freedom fighter, right? That's who we celebrate, right? We got 1,000 people in here. Somebody type Dessalines in the chat room. If you speak a little French, type Dessalines in the chat. Best way you can. Not Diesel, Dessalines. That was the revolution. That was the war. The French have left. We beat all the soldiers. They left. That was a legitimate military victory over a colonial power that had enslaved, tortured, exploited, and worked hundreds of thousands of African people to death. We should tell that truth plainly. Okay? But, my type but, here we go. But we also have to tell the truth about what happened next. Somebody tell the truth in the chat room. Somebody type tell the truth. What happened? Tell the truth. We got to talk about what happened next. Y'all want to hear the truth, or y'all want me to lie to you? I'm gonna tell the truth. Okay? Understand the context. In 1802, Napoleon sent a massive French expedition under his brother-in-law, Charles Leclerc, to reestablish French authority in Haiti. Okay? And although historians debate Napoleon's intentions at the expedition's beginning, France had already restored slavery elsewhere in the Caribbean Empire and formerly enslaved people in Saint-Domingue had every reason to believe that their freedom was about to be taken away. So the French forces under Charles Leclerc, Napoleon's brother-in-law, and his successor committed some terrible atrocities. They drowned people. They suspected rebels were executed. These are people that was fighting against the state. Okay? They did a lot of horrible things. They imported dogs to attack people. And in October 7, 1802, Leclerc proposed destroying Black people in the mountains, men and women, while eliminating large portions of the population in the plain. That was not polite colonial disagreement. France was waging an exceptionally brutal campaign, and the Haitian army understood defeat to mean possible re-enslavement and extermination. That's the context. It explains the hatred. It explains the fear. It explains why Dessalines and his soldiers believed that French power could never be allowed to return. Same thing happened to Black Americans. We had to deal with it too. It was rough. It was rough. You understand? It was very rough. But see, here's what I need you to understand. Remember when I said the French army evacuated on November 18th, 1803? They got out of there. Who's left? Who's left? Because see, once the French army had surrendered and evacuated and Haiti had declared independence, Dessalines' government began coordinating the campaign against the remaining French or white French population. I want you to think about that. Who's left? If all the soldiers are gone, who's left? Who's left? If all the French soldiers are gone, who's left? They coordinated a campaign. This is the Haitian government. This is Dessalines. You know, we not merely this wasn't merely just uncontrolled revenge by scattered former slaves running through the countryside, taking vengeance against their former slave owners or oppressors. That's not what it is. Historians describe Dessalines traveling with his military, okay, throughout Haiti, okay, to ensure his orders were carried out. And what were his orders? The orders were generally targeted if French white people without regard to age or sex. That means babies. It means men. It means women. It means old people. Okay? Now, they made certain exceptions for doctors and clergy and other skilled professionals that they might need. And they also made some exceptions for some Germans and some Polish people and foreigners from nations other than French. But I need you to understand exactly what they did once the French army was gone. Okay? The policy didn't require an individual trial. It didn't require proof that a particular person had done anything wrong to black people or tortured slaves or even served in the French army or supported anything having to do with France. Okay? The mere fact that they were there was sufficient. Now, some of the people who were targeted had undoubtedly been slaveholders. They've been militia members, whatever. But the government applied collective punishment based largely on French identity, white racial classification. This is what they did. They wanted to make sure there was no future assistance in invasion. Now, some of the most detailed surviving descriptions come from a man named Peter Stephen Chazot, and that's spelled Chazotte. I'm not going to try to pronounce it like I'm French. I'm going to pronounce it like an American. Chazot. Maybe Chazé, I don't care. He was a white planter, a merchant who survived by presenting himself as an American. So Chazot was seen as a neutral witness. He hated the revolution. He held deeply prejudiced views. And he made some claims that modern historians reject, but historian Jeremy Popkin explains that once Chazot reached the events he personally witnessed in 1804, his account began to conform very close with the facts that they knew. So Popkin says that this narrative is broadly consistent with Haitian historians and British naval officer John Perkins that visited shortly afterwards and independently confirmed seeing streets. Listen to me. Streets stained with blood and bodies exposed near the river and the seaside. These are white people. You understand what I'm saying? So this is what the Haitian military under Dessalines did to the white people who were there just because they were French. They did this to women, children, and babies. A proclamation issued on March 8th, and it ordered white male inhabitants to report to a place their arms at 8 o'clock in the morning on March 9th for what was described as a census. The proclamation warned that armed patrols would search homes and that any white man found hiding would be killed where he was discovered. What was publicly described as a registration became a roundup. Dessalines demanded money from the merchants and offered naturalization. I'm going to give you citizenship and protection, right? In exchange, I'll protect you if you give me the payment. The men came, they gave up their money, they gave up their jewelry and their property, believing that the payment might save their lives. And Chazette wrote that more than 200 men who could not pay, these were poor white men, shout out to Gigi, they couldn't pay, they didn't have the money. They were killed near the prisons and they were stripped, their bodies were stripped naked and they were thrown into the city dock. In other words, you know where the boats come? They stripped them and imagine that, you killed 200 naked, and stripped them naked, white men, throw them in the dock. And the ones who were resisted, those who resisted were unarmed and they were killed with bayonets and swords. This is what they did. This is what they did to the civilian population. And then came the decapitations. Somebody, you understand what I'm saying? This is not history that they teach us. They teach us about this noble Haitian revolution. you know, the honorable Haitian people, they booted out the French army. They never tell you that they massacred civilians. You understand? This is a photograph of what this is a picture of what they were doing back then. Okay? On the night of March 9th, 400 men were stripped of their clothing. 400 men were stripped of their clothes. Their hands tied behind their back. Okay? They were tied together in pairs. They were marched through the street by torchlight under guard. This is what the Haitians were doing. And at the head of the procession were military sappers carrying large axes. And the prisoners were taken about half a mile outside the city. Okay? And the executioners began placing the prisoners' heads on wooden blocks and cutting them off with the axes. And when decapitation proved too slow, this is what the Haitians did. When the decapitation proved too slow, the soldiers moved through the remaining prisoners with bayonets and swords. According to the account, none of those taken to the execution site escaped. They killed 400 people in one night. This is not an internet rumor. This is eyewitness account of what happened after the Haitians won the Revolutionary War and kicked the French out. This is what they did to civilians. You see? They rounded them up and they executed them. And they dumped their bodies off. Some of them they stripped naked and threw in the dock. They said the prisons, the bodies were covered in blood on the floor. Walls were stained in blood. It was a slaughterhouse. They said they had 2 large piles of white. Can you imagine being a white man and you down there visiting from the United States or some other country, and this is what these Haitians are doing to these white French people? They literally said the blood stained the streets and the bodies were left exposed beside the river and the sea. The independent observation, this matters, okay? Here's another thing. There were black people and mixed race Haitians who didn't want to participate in that. You see? There was a gentleman named, his name was Colonel, they knew it was wrong. His name was Colonel Gaston. He was a respected officer of color, which means he was mixed. He allegedly told Dessalines that he was prepared to fight an armed enemy, but would not murder unarmed prisoners in cold blood. And when soldiers arrived to arrest him for refusing the order, Dessalines reportedly shot himself rather than participate in this massacre of innocent, unarmed people. You understand? Because he was saying that many of the black and mixed race people were appalled by the orders of death. This was horrible. This is what I'm telling you. The Haitians, there were Haitians who did, I'm not participating in that. This is wrong. We've already won the war. Why are you killing these civilians? We've been living next to these people. I'm not every black Haitian approved the killing of civilians, but it happened. Yeah, these would be war crimes. And see, again, it didn't end with adult men. There's a historian named Julia Gaffield. He writes that the Haitian army systematically killed French men, women, and children during the first months of 1804. Somebody type 1804. When you say 1804, I want you to remember that the war was over in 1804. This is what 1804 means. This is memory. The war lasted 13 years. It ended in 1804 on January 1st. This is what happened in 1804. Babies were killed. Women were killed. There was an account published in Paris in 1812 and described a later wave directed towards white women and children. They specifically targeted women and children. And the narrative tells us that Madame Saint Genevieve being beheaded while a Haitian officer secretly saved her 2 daughters. Popkin cautions that, people disagree, but this is what was going on. You understand what I'm saying? This is somebody type 1804. Come on now. Don't run from it. Type Dessalines in the chat room. This is these people's history. Somebody, come on now. Don't run from it. Because see, the war started in 1791 and it ended in 1803. When we talk about 1804, this is what was going on in 1804. Come on, keep typing 1804, Black Americans. Look, come on, get that 1804 in there. You're going to get this work today. Prisoners were bound and marched out and killed. This went on for months, by the way. They were killed with axes and bayonets and swords, and all this is documented. Men who had surrendered their money, giving up everything they had, they were killed. French men, women, children. This is what they did in 1804. Unborn babies were torn from their mother's wombs. Heads were severed and then sewn back into the bodies. Think about that. That's what they did. Somebody type 1804 in the chat room. They said somewhere between 1,500 and 5,000 people were killed in Haiti during this 3-month time period under Dessalines. You think white people are going to forget that? Oh, this is not the French army. These are civilians. These are babies and women. I'm just saying. And here's the cold part about this. Dessalines didn't hide what he'd done. He was proud of it. On April 28th, 1804, after the principal killing campaign, he issued a proclamation remembered by words, I have avenged America. In it, he described the killings as a vengeance for slavery and French atrocities. He declared that Haiti had answered the war for war, crime for crime, outrage for outrage. He claimed the result as his duty. This is what this man said. It was his duty and his pride and his glory. Is this a hero that we want to celebrate as Foundation of Black America? Is this the type of heroes that we with? The man said he claimed the result as his duty, his pride, and his glory. And that same proclamation survives in the British National Archives and was quickly circulated abroad. It was translated into English in the New York Commercial Advertiser on June 4th, 1804, and the Connecticut Herald on June 12th. And white Americans, they didn't have to wait decades for the rumors. Dessalines' own justification was being printed in American newspapers within weeks. Did that help us? Somebody type FBA in the chat. Do y'all think that helped us? Because I want you to put yourself in the position of a white slave owner in Virginia or South Carolina, Louisiana, or Jamaica or Cuba or some other slave society. He didn't look at Haiti and see only enslaved people heroically winning their freedom, I bet. Shout out to Choose Better. He saw a French army defeated. He saw white authority destroyed, plantations taken. But more importantly, he saw French women and children and old people. He saw, after independence, he saw these people massacred. And that lesson he drew wasn't slavery isn't evil. Okay, so we should free our slaves. The lesson is he was predisposed to draw was if black people become free, if they ever become free and armed and politically powerful, they're going to kill us and our wives and our children. And that conclusion was racist, self-serving, but it was also used to defend an indefensible system just that much more. Look, This is it. You understand? See, after the Haitian independence and that post-war killings, it made the argument it's a very powerful argument that we need to keep these people oppressed. We need to keep an eye on these people. We need to get this, even people who may have sympathized with ending slavery could now be shown reports of bound civilians, decapitations, women and children killed. And again, Dessalines was proud of this. Somebody typed Dessalines in the chat room. He was proud of it. Now, I'm not saying things weren't exaggerated, but we know some killing happened to some civilians. And so now you understand why Thomas Jefferson said, let's put the brakes on this. And they isolated Haiti rather than recognize them as a new country. Is it starting to make sense now? Do you really want those people coming up here? If you got a large slave population of black people, do you really want Haitians to start coming to the United States and filling the black Americans here, the foundation, you filling their minds up with that? I'm just asking questions. The United States government's own historical accounts notes that Thomas Jefferson became very hostile after Dessalines ordered the execution of those remaining white citizens from France. The United States didn't officially recognize Haiti until 1862 during the Civil War, after the southern slaveholding states had left Congress. You understand? Now, again, the Haitian Revolution is 13-year struggle from 1791 through 1803. That was a real revolution. It was real war of liberation against the military, the French military. But after the victory, the revolutionary government crossed a line that you can't uncross. What occurred in 1804 wasn't battlefield combat. It wasn't the killing of armed French soldiers during an invasion. It was state-directed massacre and racial national purging carried out against a civilian population after the French military had surrendered and Haitian independence had already been declared. That's the complete truth. This is who these people are. See, you don't honor history by turning the Haitian Revolution into some clean Hollywood movie where every revolutionary act was heroic and every person killed deserved it. That's not true. You also don't honor history by repeating every, well, let me say it like this. We don't need to lie about it. Okay? And I'm not going to lie about it. And I'm not going to lie to you about it. Bottom line is, when you see Haitians use 1804 as a shield, I want you to remember the whole story. It's cool to celebrate the defeat of the French army. We can acknowledge the courage required to defeat Napoleon's army, but don't erase what happened after. In the spring of 1804, when Dessalines marched around the countryside and committed all those atrocities against those people. You see? Don't erase the beheadings. Don't erase the women and children and the government's proclamation that followed. We will not make killing of civilians morally invisible because it's inconvenient. The revolution was real. Freedom was real. Okay? But that massacre was real too. Now, like most foundational Black Americans, we never taught this history. We barely taught our own history. We don't know the difference. We don't know what's going on between Haiti and the Dominican Republic. We knew they shared an island. I knew Haitians were overwhelmingly black. I knew Dominicans say me no black. And because I understood American racism and anti-Blackness and colorism, I thought I already understood the whole situation. Haitians were black, Dominicans were mixed. Dominicans didn't want to be associated with black people. Therefore, Dominicans must simply be prejudiced against Haitians because Haitians are dark. That's an easy explanation. But it's lazy and it's incomplete. And see, the thing is, when Americans hear Dominicans say, I'm not black, I'm Dominican, we process that statement through the American racial system. In America, somebody can't be culturally Dominican and racially black at the same time. So when we hear dark-skinned Dominican reject the word black, we naturally interpret it as self-hatred or colorism. Sometimes it is. Racism, colorism, and anti-Haitian prejudices absolutely exist in Dominican society, but scholars have also explained the Dominican racial language developed through a national conflict, which black was often coded as Haitian. And Dominican identity was defined as non-Haitian or non-black, rather than necessarily white. Because I've never heard Dominicans say, I'm white. They say me no black, but they don't say I'm white. Some do. But see, in that situation, race and nationality became fused together. Now, some of y'all might have missed that. What if we've had it wrong? What if me no black means I'm not Haitian? You understand? Just like when we say I'm foundational black American, I'm not African. I still have African DNA, but I'm not African. See that? See, what I'm trying to do is help you explain, because it seems to us as foundational black Americans, we've come to the same conclusion that the Jamaicans, the Bahamians, and pretty much every other Caribbean island have come to about these Haitians who are trying to throw a guilt trip on us right now about not coming out there protesting for the TPS. And they keep trying to throw this mind trick on us and have us out here thinking that we've done something wrong because, you know, why y'all, we black too. Hold on a minute. I'm not saying racial prejudice is acceptable. I'm just saying ain't nothing, we black Americans aren't crazy. We see what we see. To the average black American, black means a race of people. To many Dominicans, particularly within the national ideology they inherited, black historically came to mean Haitian. Black is synonymous with Haitian. Haitian came to mean a foreign political enemy that killed all them white folk and keep invading us and occupying us and repeatedly attempt to rule over us on our island. So when you hear a lot of these Dominicans say, I'm not black, they may be making a racial statement, but they also are saying, I'm not Haitian. I belong to a different nation, culture, history, language, and political tradition. They're not saying I'm white. They're just saying I'm not black. I'm not Haitian. And see, black Americans were never taught that distinction. We saw skin color and assumed that skin color explained everything. We recognize one form of prejudice. And we stop asking any historical experience produced after that. We side automatically with the black Haitians because they look more like us and our ancestors and presented their struggle in the language we understood, English. Black people being discriminated against by lighter skinned people. That's what we saw. But Dominicans and Haitians have lived next to one another for centuries. They know one another's history in a way we don't. They remember wars, invasions, occupations, the massacres, the border disputes, the reconquest attempts that the average black American has never heard or discussed ever. This is the first time many of y'all hearing about this. Somebody type 1804. And see, let me explain something else. Let's go a little deeper. Somebody type deeper in the chat room. The first thing we have to understand is this. These weren't originally one people who suddenly divided because one side became colorist. The eastern side of Hispaniola, which we call the Dominican Republic, was under Spain. They spoke Spanish. The dominant religion was Catholicism. Its economy was based on cattle ranching and little farms, and communal landholding and trade. Its population included European, African, and indigenous Taino ancestry from the beginning of the colonial area. The western side, the side we call Haiti, that came about later, after. So the Spanish side, that was there first. The Dominican side, which showed up when France showed up, that came later. It was called Saint-Domingue. It was very profitable plantation colony built on mass African slavery. That's what they did. So on one side, you got people over here, cattle and little small farms. On the other side, you just got slavery from Africa, keeping it going. Now, France's possession of the western part was formally recognized by Spain in 1697 at a treaty. They had a treaty. It's called Ryswick. Okay, you all take that part over. We're going to recognize it. Y'all speak French over there. We're going to speak Spanish over here. That's your side. These two societies developed under different empires, different laws and languages and economic systems and, religions and racial structures. It's like the difference between Mexico and the United States. They speak Spanish. We speak English. We had the British. They had the Spanish Empire. And see, the thing you have to understand is that history matters because Haitian independence didn't erase the separate development of the Dominican Republic, which was the eastern side of the island. Haiti emerged from a revolutionary war against French slavery. The people of the eastern side, or Santo Domingo, didn't emerge from that same revolution. They had nothing to do with them. They had their own history. They had their own culture and institutions. They had their own relationship with Spain. Haiti's leaders, however, they view control of the entire island as necessary for Haitian security. They said they feared that France and Spain or some other European power could use the Eastern Territory as a base from which to invade Haiti and restore slavery. I understand why they were nervous and somebody typed paranoid in the chat room. They was crackhead paranoid. You understand why? They killed all them white folk. And they said, we know these French are going to come back and get us. We know they're going to team up to these white folk are not going to let us get away. So we need to go ahead and take over we need to take over the eastern side, the Spanish side. So they don't have anywhere they can land to come get us. We understand why you're paranoid. You did all them white folk there. You killed 5,000 white folk, you cut them up. You don't know who them people was for. You just indiscreet. You done did all that dirt. Oh, they going to get you. You understand? France still had military forces in the east. And in January 1805, a French commander named Jean-Louis Ferrand authorized raids into Haiti to capture black men, women, and children and sell them into slavery. So it was still going on. You understand? Now, Dessalines, this person who killed all these white folk, he decided it was a good idea, okay, to invade the invaded eastern Santo Domingo, or in other words, the Dominican side in 1805. So think about this. It's 1804. Everybody's heard all this dirt you done did to these French people, okay? And now you want to bring your behind over here to the Dominican side, which was called Santo Domingo, okay? in his mind, in his little paranoid mind, he had to do it in order to prevent the French from invading him. Okay? He knew the French soldiers were operating next door. France hadn't accepted Haitians' independence. They were still mad. You have French commanders authorizing the capture and enslavement of Haitians. And Dessalines wasn't simply waking up one morning and deciding to attack Dominicans for entertainment. Dominican Republic was just in the way of their goal. He wanted to get the French military threat out of there. But again, what does that have to do with the Haitians? I mean, what does it have to do with the Dominican? Like, we ain't got nothing to do with this, Poppy. We didn't do nothing. That's between you and the French. You understand? So this is what happened. This is the history between the Dominicans and the Haiti. Y'all went over there and murdered all them white folk after the Revolutionary War was over. And now y'all want to come. Now it's 1805. I guess y'all don't have nothing else to do. You killed all them white folk last spring. And now here it is, February 1805. And you had two large Haitian armies decided to invade the Dominican Republic side under Dessalines. You understand? And they start marching towards Santo Domingo. They didn't even get much resistance until they got to the capital, where the French commander had concentrated some forces. Remember, Spain was gone. It was just France there. You understand? Think about that. And when the French ships appeared offshore, he feared that Haiti itself might be attacked in order to withdraw. In other words, we over here on the eastern side and the Dominican Republic side, and the French have their boats. They might swoop back around and go back and take Haiti. So they withdrew. They went back. And so their military objective is failed. That's one invasion. And what followed during the retreat was one of the darkest chapters in Dominican historical history. The Haitian forces moved back through the countryside. You know what they did? They didn't just walk back over there. They destroyed the settlements. They burned down the town. They killed a bunch of Dominican people. These little Spanish-speaking people, why y'all over here with us, Poppy? They literally snatched people up and they took them back to Haiti. You understand? They went to places like Monte Plata, La Vega, Santiago, and other communities. As they just targeted them for destruction. So you couldn't just leave. You invaded and you couldn't just leave. You had to destroy stuff on the way out. You understand? These weren't French soldiers who did that. You understand? They killed Dominican civilians. They killed whites, mixed people, black people living in territory controlled by France. This is what they did. Their only crime was that they had a Spanish-speaking identity. You understand? What does that have to do with the Dominican villagers? Why is this our problem? This is part of their history. This is the beef between the Haitians and the Dominicans. I want you to understand that. This is their history. Strike one. Somebody type strike one. Strike one. Think about that. There was a story that came out by a man named something that they call it the slaughter of Mocha. Shout out to Monica Camp. This is from a Dominican survivor. His name was Gaspar Pichardo. Now, according to his account and others, Haitian officers gave assurances that people would be protected and that a religious service would be held to mark the end of the fighting. And then so the families gathered inside, believing they would receive money, a mercy. And once they were assembled, the troops attacked the congregation with blades. Men, women, elderly people, and children were killed inside and around the church. This is what the Dominicans did. You see what they did? The same thing to the French. Yeah, y'all come on down at 8 o'clock in the morning and we just want your money. Think about that. Said the same thing to the Dominicans. Sneaky. And then killed them all. They don't know how many people were killed at Mocha. But I've been to Mocha. I've been to Santiago. They remember this. They have memorials put up when the Haitians came over here and killed our people. They said there was about 500 people killed in this village. This was a massacre. These are civilians. This is what these Haitians are doing. And then the Haitians retreated. The Dominicans write about this. This is these people's history. This is their history amongst each other. This is what we don't know. We don't speak Spanish and we don't speak French. This is what they know about each other. Strike one. Santiago, during the retreat, when the Haitians were running back to Haiti to make sure the French didn't come around there in their ships. This is 1805. They ran through Santiago. They killed residents. They burned homes and churches and convents with nuns. You understand? What does this have to do? What does this war between the French and the Haitians have to do with the Dominicans or the Spanish-speaking people who were former colonials of Spain? Nothing. Now, I want you to put yourself in the mind of these Dominicans. How was that remembered on the eastern side of the island? From a Dominican person's perspective, the Haitian Revolution, okay, it didn't stay safely on the western side of the island. A year after Haiti got its independence, these same Haitian armies crossed over into our territory. They burned down towns. They killed innocent civilians. People were kidnapped and carried away. I'm sure there was a lot of grapes going on too. And I'm not talking about the ones you mush and drink. Okay? These families remember what happened. I know relatives. I know some of my relatives from in the early 1804 and whatnot. I talk about some of them. This is what happened to these people's relatives. You don't think they remember what happened in Mocha and Santiago, some of their major cities? You had black Haitian troops, okay, come over there and commit all these atrocities against these innocent people. These were experienced soldiers who had been fighting the war for 13 years. You went over to the neighboring government's land, invaded them and their community. Look, man. You see what's going on? This is 1805, strike one. Now let's say strike two, 1821, again. This is December 1st, 1821. Jose Nunez Caceres and his supporters, they ended Spanish rule. And they declared the Eastern Territory independent as the state of Spanish Haiti. That's what they call themselves. Their plan was to become part of Haiti. They intended to associate the new state with Simon Bolivar and Gran Colombia. This independence is remembered as the ephemeral independence because it lasted only a matter of weeks. There had not been a long military war against Spain. Spanish authority was weak. They didn't have to kill a bunch of Spanish people. There was very little resistance. It wasn't this big thing that the French had. It was very little blood in this war. But the Eastern Territory had declared its own political direction. The situation was complicated. Now they didn't represent everybody in the East. Some northern and border communities favored political union with Haiti. Enslaved people and free people of color had a reason to distrust the independent movement led by local elites. And many of them viewed Haiti, where slavery had been abolished, as a better guarantee of freedom. Okay. They were talking. Boyer had sent some representatives, some envoys to the eastern communities and secured support for several local leaders before his army entered. And this is why historians disagree over whether to describe the 1822 exclusively as an invasion or annexation or unification or whatever. But here's the part that can't be ignored. John Pierre Boyer didn't arrive alone carrying a petition. He came over, again, strike two. He came over to the Eastern Territory, to the Dominican side, with 12,000 men. Now, mind you, they just came over there in 1805. Strike one. Now here it is, February 9th, 1822. He came and invaded and entered Santo Domingo with 12,000 men. There was no major battle. Hell, some of the Dominicans welcomed him. You know what I'm saying? They probably played a little bit. They probably played a little music for him. You understand? Like when you're getting off that airplane in Puerto Plata. Somebody type Puerto Plata. You know what I'm saying? Welcome. Come on in. We got some mango for you, Poppy. Whatever. Now, the Haitians, they describe this as the liberation or unification because Boyer abolished the remaining slavery in the East. Again, okay, the Dominicans had already negotiated freedom and independence from Spain. So this so-called invasion was highly unnecessary. Okay, they didn't need to be separated from Spain. They didn't need to be saved from Spain anymore. At that point, they had negotiated, okay, Spain is gone. We still gonna speak Spanish and we're gonna do our own thing over here. And we'll talk about who we're gonna be cool with and who we're gonna unify with. And then you come over with 12,000 people. Now that's a very truncated way to look at it, but this is the public I'm speaking to you all. This is their history. Strike two. Now, again, people who had still been legally enslaved, they were free. We don't need to lie about that to make the rest of the argument. Haiti didn't legally enslave the Dominican population in 1822. It technically abolished slavery. But abolition didn't give Boyer a permanent right to govern another people without their continuing, which is what he did. Because for the next 22 years, Haiti occupied the Dominican Republic. They took over their government. Let me tell you what this Haitian leader did. He nationalized property belonging to the Catholic Church and religious orders. He abolished traditional church financial arrangements. He weakened the church institutional authority. He disrupted its relationship with Rome. The Dominicans wanted to hold on to their Catholicism. Basically, he took all the property and said, this is the property of the government. You understand what I'm saying? They didn't ask for that. What if I came to your house and just took over all your stuff and said, this belongs to everybody, us now? You know what else they did? Keep in mind that the Haitians owed a lot of money to the French for those atrocities that they committed. And so the Haitians began to tax the Dominican people. Now, they weren't called Dominicans. It was the east side and the west side, okay? So the east side, they had invaded. They began to tax them and take their things and force them to pay the debt that they owed to France. Think about that. Y'all done picked a fight with these French people. Y'all done killed up all these French folk and had your revolution. We negotiated our revolution. And now we got to help y'all pay y'all debt. This is what they did for 22 years. Dominicans speak Spanish. Haitians speak French. They forced the Dominicans to speak French in the official governmental capacities. Think about that. What if somebody took over your job and made you speak Arabic or German? How would you feel about that? All of a sudden, now we all got to speak a foreign language that we're not aware of. You're going to be ostracized. You understand? They just came over there and they imposed their will. They basically were colonizers. The Haitians were colonizers. They came and colonized the Dominican side for 22 years. Land that families and communities believed belonged to them was subjected to different legal regimes imposed upon them by Port-au-Prince. You had Haitian officials attempted to reorganize agriculture. In other words, they took this and took that and took crops and took cattle and so on and so forth. This is what they did. 22 years of that. They said they ended slavery, but it was damn near like slavery. The Haitians became Uncle Ruckus over there. They became the colonizers. This is the history. Somebody type strike 2 in the chat room. I mean, legally, historically, the language isn't precise because Boyer had abolished slavery, but when a foreign government imposes compulsory military obligations, forces labor discipline, land restructure, in other words, they take your land, make you work on it, make you work for the military. They start taking your money. They centralize political control. People have to live under an oppressive system. That sounds like servitude to me. It's not chattel slavery, but it's definitely servitude. It's an occupation. They are the colonizers. Again, the entire island was affected by the enormous indemnity of France imposed on Haiti in exchange for recognizing Haitian independence. So they had to pay for it. I want you to think about this. In exchange for recognizing Haitians' independence, the government of Haiti needed the revenue and residents in the East, in the Dominican side. They were expected to live under those same fiscal policies of the Haitian state, even though they didn't have anything to do with the French Revolution by the Haitians. So the Haitians paid the French to be recognized as a country, and then they forced the Dominicans to pay for it. Pay the bill. Y'all hear that? This is what happened. You see these people have history between them? Huh? Well, anyway, Haitians start dealing with some weakened government. And on February 27, 1844, 22 years later, the Dominican forces declared separation and they established the Dominican Republic. Okay? February 27, 1844. Now, it'd have been great if that story had ended there, right? Right? They finally pushed them out 22 years later. Right? Maybe if the story strike 2, right? Maybe if it had ended there, everything be fine. But it didn't. It didn't end there because the Haitian government kept coming back. They kept attempting to regain and invade the Eastern Territory. They got put out on March 27th. These mofos came right back in March. They got put out in February 27, 1844. They came back in March 1844 when Haitians came with some more people. You understand? They came back to the newly declared Dominican Republic and they advanced. They came through different routes. They was coming back, man. They came to a place called Azua. They went to Santiago. Strike 3. Then there was another strike, 1845. They came back. Strike 4, 1849, they tried to come back. Strike 5. And then they came back again in 1855 and 1856. Strike 6. You understand? These people kept coming back. Somebody type strike 6 in the chat room. And it was finally after 1856, the Dominicans finally put them down. They like, we got to keep an eye on these people. These people were colonizers. And they still wouldn't recognize them. They didn't even, Haitians had their mind to go back and invade the Dominican Republic and put them under their thumb all the way up into 1874. Another 18 years have gone by. You understand? This is 30 years after the Dominicans have declared independence. They finally got signed a treaty. Think about that. 6 strikes. So I want you to understand something, because I'm talking specifically to foundational Black Americans. It ain't us. We are not the only ones. These people are hard-headed, okay? They are here to take over. That's what the Dominicans said. You see? So I want you to understand. So from a Dominican person's perspective, this wasn't one misunderstanding. The Haitian, this is 1874. They find we free. We up here in America free. You know what I'm saying? We got building towns and HBCUs all around, and the Dominican Republic is still fighting the Haitians off. Think about that. So again, let's put this in context. So from the Dominican people's perspective, this wasn't a misunderstanding. Haitian armies entered into the Dominican Republic in 1801. Dessalines invaded in 1805. And the retreat produced massacre. So as they was leaving, they killed, burned, raped, and pillaged. They came back in 1822 and stayed unwanted for 22 years. Okay, then when the Dominican Republic finally pushed them away in 1844, the Haitian government came back 4 or 5 times to try to reinvade. Think about that. Shout out to Alex Berry. And this history extending across generations. Do you think they forgot about that? Now, I want y'all to, let's go back and analyze the phrase, me no black. Do you understand why the Haitians don't want to be black? They associate black with why the Dominicans associate black with badness down there? They see the Haitians as black. That's why they say me no black. Me no black is synonymous with me no Haitian. Again, some of that is colorism. Some of it is anti-Blackness. Some of it was deliberately cultivated by the Dominican elites, especially in the later periods, to depict Haiti as barbaric and Dominican Republic as Hispanic, Catholic, civilized, and racially superior. But look at all the stuff that they did. We shouldn't pretend otherwise, because it's intellectually lazy to say that the entire distinction is simply dark skin versus light skin, or that the Dominicans are ashamed of their African ancestors. These people have a real bloody history. So in the Dominican historical consciousness, Haiti wasn't merely the darker country next door. Haiti was the neighboring state whose armies had crossed the border, whose government had ruled over them and was oppressive and colonizing them, who had imposed different political legal system, who had taxed them unfairly, took their things, repeatedly attempt to reverse their independence. Haitian became associated with occupier, colonizer, foreign authority, cultural displacement, military threat, killers. Because Haitian national identity was explicitly black, the word black and Haitian became tied together in Dominican political language. That history helps explain the association. It doesn't make racial discrimination morally right. That's not what I'm saying. And see, this is what Black Americans aren't told. Shout out to my foundational Black American brothers and sisters. Are you learning something? See, we were handed a one-line explanation by the Haitian scholars who came up here and spoke English. Dominicans hate Haitians because Dominicans are colorists and refuse to admit they are black. That's what we heard. That's easy for us to understand. And then we looked at their skin and heard me no black and said, yeah, okay, case closed. We don't care anyway. That ain't something we concerned about. But the case was never that simple. Dominicans know Haitians' history because they have lived beside Haiti for centuries. They know what Haitian governments have done, and Haitians know what Dominican governments have done. They have fought wars. They've exchanged populations. They've disputed borders. They traded with one another. They intermarried. They cooperated. They committed atrocities. against one another. And what we did, we came in at the tail end of this history with our American racial framework, and we assumed we understood everything after hearing one side. We didn't. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying we do. And the truth is we don't really have to. And see, another thing that you got to understand is Haitian Revolution. Haitians are actually colorists themselves. They are very anti-light skin based on their rhetoric and based on their war history. Let's talk about it. And most Black Americans, you know, we are not dark pigment people of color, or dark pigmented African people. We're not. We're mixed. We have to ask what the revolution looked like to people living on the eastern side of the same island. Foundational Black Americans were never taught this history. We were taught about Haitian Revolution as this glorious fight against slavery, but we weren't taught about how the revolution itself, how the internal bloodshed and the Haitian governments, what they did afterwards to the neighboring populations. We saw Haitians as Black people suffering discrimination, heard Dominicans say, "Me no Black," and assumed we understood the whole story. We recognized colorism and anti-Blackness because those are things that Black Americans know intimately. But we didn't recognize the political, military, and historical meaning that the words Black and Haitian had acquired inside the Dominican national memory. To the average FBA, Black is a racial category. It includes Black Americans, Haitians, Jamaicans, Nigerians, Dominicans, anybody of African ancestry. But in Dominican history, Blackness didn't develop solely as a description of skin color. Shout out to Sharonda Sowell. Over time, Black increasingly became associated with Haitian, and Haitian became associating with neighboring state that had crossed the border, occupied Dominican territory, destroyed towns, carried away people, imposed their government on us. Now, a Library of Congress country study explained that the occupation itself intensified racial hostility. So you got these folk over here from Haiti in the Dominican Republic. It intensified racial hostility. That 22 years of that occupation, Haitian troops resented lighter skinned Dominicans. And the Dominicans increasingly associated Haitians with darker complexion with the abuses and oppressions they experienced under Haitian rule. Do you see what's going on here? Think about this. You got the Haitians who had been under the French people, who were white people for all these years. And then they had their own mulatto population who sided with the French. So they didn't like light-skinned people. And now they decide it's a good idea to go over here and invade the Dominican side when you got a bunch of light-skinned people. So the light-skinned people over in the DR are getting beat up by the Haitians who don't like light-skinned people. And they're associating these dark-skinned people with oppressive. Again, I'm not saying Dominican colorism is imaginary. That's not what I'm saying. Okay? That's not what I'm saying. Okay? It doesn't make every Dominican racial attitude historically justified. That's not what I'm saying. But it does mean we have to stop pretending that a Dominican saying, "I'm no Black, I'm Dominican," can always be understood through the American racial system. Sometimes a statement may reflect colorism or denial of African ancestry, but it can also mean I'm not Haitian and I'm not part of the neighboring nation who's been invading us. I speak a different language. I come from a different colonial history. I practice different traditions and belong to a people who repeatedly fought against the Haitian political control. See, that history began before either modern country existed. The eastern side developed for centuries under Spain. They spoke Spanish. They did cattle ranching. They had communal property practices. They were Catholic. You see? Of mixed race, African, European, and indigenous. The western side, they developed under the French. One of the richest but most vicious plantation slave societies in the world. These weren't two branches of one unified society that suddenly separated because one became racist. These were two different groups of people, two different empires, two different set of laws, two different languages, religions, and racial systems. And the Haitian Revolution made those differences even more sharper. Look, Saint-Domingue, the Haitian side population, had been divided into enslaved Africans, listen, white colonialists, free people of color, in other words, light-skinned people, including a substantial group of mixed race property-owning black people, known as gens de couleur, okay? And when the revolution began in August 1791, these groups didn't all join one unified freedom movement. They formed shifting alliances. They fought one another. They negotiated with the French and the Brits and the Spanish, and they struggled for political interests. So even the revolutionary leadership turned inward. From 1799 to 1800, Toussaint Louverture and Jean-Jacques Dessalines fought a man named André Rigaud and Alexandre Petition. And I know I don't give a crap if I'm not saying it right. I'm not French. I'm speaking English. So I'm saying it as an English person. With André Rigaud and Alexandre Petition. I'm not going to say it the way you would say it. Okay? They call it the War of Knives. And Toussaint's support came heavily from formerly enslaved black soldiers in the north. And Rigaud's Southern coalition drew from mixed race elites. So you had the light-skinned people and the dark-skinned people in Haiti fighting each other in the Revolutionary War. Not just the French, they were fighting each other. And the war involved political power, regional control, military rival. Now, the light-skinned dude, Rigaud, he was defeated. And many of his supporters fled and they were displaced. But the bottom line is it created a lot of distrust between black leadership and mixed race elite. And that became part of Haiti's political inheritance. So now here we are in 1805, and you got these same people, right? Right? These same people, the Haitian Constitution attempted to answer this history by declaring that Haitian citizens legally equal and placing them under a generic national identity of black, regardless of their skin. So now everybody's Haitian. Okay, whether you're light skinned or dark skinned, whatever. That was a revolutionary rejection of the French caste system, which said whites up here, mixed race here, dark skinned people here. Everybody's Haitian. They try to make it equal. But from the perspective of the neighboring society, where you had African, Spanish, and indigenous ancestry, and they'd been mixing for centuries, it appeared that the new Haitian state was turning blackness into an official political identity, and it eliminated the distinctions that Dominicans considered central to their own history. Now, I want you to put yourself in the population of a mixed Dominican population living next door. You watched the revolution, which people of light-skinned, dark-skinned people killed each other, white, black people killed each other. They got class issues, political loyalty, repeatedly determined who was trusted and who was in exile, okay, and who lost power and who got killed. You watched the remaining French white civilians, some of who could have been your friends. You watched them get slaughtered by Dessalines after the French army had been defeated and gone. You watched a new state declare all of its citizens black as a matter of national law. Shout out to Dream Girl. Then the state begins placing military pressure on your side of the island. And so the question in the Dominican people's minds is wouldn't simply have been, do we hate black people? No. See, black and mixed people already lived together throughout the Eastern Territory. It was by definition a mixed population. And the more immediate question would have been, what happens to us if the revolution crosses its border? What happens to the Spanish-speaking Catholics, the mixed families, the landowners, the farmers, merchants, people who don't accept the political identity imposed by the Haitian state? Will we be treated as neighbors? Will we be classified as enemies? And that fear reinforced almost immediately because, again, Toussaint Louverture, he came over there with the nonsense. Okay, he came again in 1805 and several more times. You see? They did people dirty. Shout out to Darlene Chestnut. These are civilians they went over there and slaughtered multiple times. Okay? Now, at what point do y'all think the Dominicans were mad at that point? Are the Dominicans mad at the Haitians? Huh? If you were a Dominican, would you be mad at the Haitians? They didn't try to invade you 6 times. They done slaughtered your people. I think I would be mad. Let me say this again. The Dominicans and the Haitians know each other in ways we do not. They share markets, family, music, labor, religion, migration routes, in one island. And they have fought each other. They've massacred each other. And we as Black Americans have arrived in this centuries-old relationship at the tail end. We don't speak any one of their, we don't speak French, Patois, or Spanish. We don't know. We assumed we had enough information to judge, and we didn't. And I say all that to say now, let's talk about the Parsley Massacre of 1937, because this is recent history. I would wager that there's some people who know people who are alive right now when this happened in 1937. They call it the Parsley Massacre. This was racial profiling. It was abusive deportation. It was denationalization or cruelty towards Haitian migrants. Again, let's not look at this in isolation. Let's not look at this massacre in isolation. Let's look at this in the context that in 1801, the Haitians started invading the Dominican Republic side, and they start doing things to them, slaughtering them. Keep this in mind. Let's put it in context. Are we learning something? Are we, somebody type me no black, 1804. Let's put it in context. Because we always hear Haitians come up, 1804, the next thing they talk about, anytime you say, well, do the Dominicans have they sign? They bring up, oh, Trujillo, Parsley Massacre. Okay. And we just back up off of it. Let's listen. Now, the Parsley Massacre. Haitians speak French. They speak Patois. It's hard for them to say parsley in Spanish. Okay? And so people, I mean, some people say it's true. Some people say it didn't happen. Bottom line is a lot of Haitians were unalive. Innocent Haitians living today aren't personally responsible for what Dessalines and all of those people did. We get that. And modern Dominicans aren't responsible or guilty for what Trujillo did. We're not saying that. All I want is foundational Black Americans to understand what's going on with these people. Okay? I want you to listen. So basically, they wanted to get the Haitians up out of there. And so they start going all around and they slaughtered thousands and thousands of Haitians. Again, these people have been warring with each other for decades now. I want you to keep that in mind. It was a horrible situation. And historical memory does help explain the fear and the policy without morally justifying every modern act committed in its name. But again, the reverse is also true. Condemning Dominican abuses doesn't require us to erase the Haitians' invasions and civilian killings and burning towns and mass removals and 22 years of occupation or the repeated attempts to destroy the Dominican country. You can't demand historical honesty about Dominican crimes while insisting that the Haitian crimes disappear from the record. So when Dominicans treat the border as a matter of sovereignty and survival, understand what they're remembering. They aren't viewing Haiti from a college classroom in the United States. They're living beside a nation whose government has repeatedly claimed or controlled their territory. They remember that the border wasn't always respected. They remember that when they just didn't put up any fuss and let them come over, they took over. I'm not giving anybody the license to abuse innocent migrants. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to explain why the Dominicans don't treat the border with Haiti as some abstract humanitarian line. To them, the border is the product of wars, occupation, resistance, blood. It's the physical line separating the Dominican state from a history in which Haitian leaders repeatedly sought control over the entire island and was willing to brutalize them for it. You may disagree with these Dominicans. You may condemn them as prejudice. You may demand humane treatment for Haitians. But before you lecture Dominicans about why they should simply open their country and trust their neighbor, learn what happened the last time their sovereignty disappeared. History doesn't excuse everything, but context changes everything. And for my foundational Black American brothers and sisters, if you, over the past year, 2 or 3 years or 10 years, have developed a different vibe or feeling towards people from the diaspora, including Haitians, maybe there's a reason. You should ask their neighbors. And that's all we've done on this particular broadcast. Now, I want to take the opportunity to thank the beautiful people who've contributed to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal. I hope y'all have learned something. I hope you all have learned something. I have something else to give to you all. I definitely want to read. The Super Chats. We have 21 Super Chats. I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope it was in context. I mean, anybody can talk about TPS. I want to try to help y'all understand what's really going on. Now, let me see here. Do we have any Cash Apps? Let's see. We have some Cash Apps in here. I want to address the Cash App people first. We got a couple of them coming in hot and heavy. Shout out to James Miles. Thank you so much. Angela Harris, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for the 2 Cash Apps. Let's go ahead and talk to Mixed Lens. Thank you so much. Let's see. You said 400. Oh, Eagle. Thank you. 400 Jules Eagle. Thank you so much. That's some cold word. I don't know what you said, but Eagle, that's pretty fancy. I don't know what that means, but shout out to you. Somebody, Telescope, sending a Sloss of Western shout out. Yeah, oh, that's right. I said y'all was moted. People couldn't even spell. They said, did he say demoted? Did he say motivate? No, I moted. Okay, moted. Look it up. Look it up in the slang dictionary. Shout out to 2 Jules Silver. Thank you for the Silver Star crystal roll. Appreciate you. Let me see here. Eddie Washington, 440 Jules. Uncle Alert. Thank you so much, family. I appreciate you. And 750 Jules. Let them cook. I'm cooking, man. I'm gonna keep on cooking. Thank you so much. Loving possibilities. Also, Black and saying we built the first world, the African continent is third world, even Europe is becoming second world. Yeah, man. I mean, we definitely need to think about protecting our borders. We can't open it up to everybody. Who else we have here? Laughing Disco. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Irvin Zahara and Uncle Alert. Good looking out, the everyday Muslim. Let's see here. 10 Jules. Thank you so much. Secret We Keep. Appreciate you. Again, Secrets We Keep. New member. Welcome to the membership, Secrets We Keep. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. GG HZ. I can't say that. Thank you for enjoying the learning. I'm glad you all enjoyed the learning. 1804. Yeah, type 1804. Next time you hear it, you think about it differently. Trust in God. Thank you so much. Also, thumbs up. Monocam. Thank you for 9656. I appreciate y'all. And let me see, Alexis Berry, let them cook. I'm cooking, man. I'm cook, baby girl. I'm do what I do. Also, we have here Sharonda Soul. Thank you. I appreciate you. And let's see here. Dream Girl 247, good looking out. Darlene Chestnut, thank you for the $10 super sticker. Love the history lesson, Unc. Thank you so much, Henry Ravenell. I appreciate you for the gold coin. And then also, I want to thank Black and Red, White and Blue. Uncle Alert, good looking out. I appreciate this. So we got 23 super chats. Shout out to all the people who contribute to the super chats, the Cash App and the PayPal. Now I want to take the opportunity to close this thing out with some understanding. So, and I humbly appreciate everybody who spent some time with me today. I try to keep it brief and hard hitting, and I do appreciate you all for taking the time to hang out with me. It's a true blessing to have your ear, and I do my very best to present you with information that you actually can help you have understanding. Shout out to Crystal Watson. I learned something. And again, a lot of you all, a lot of Black people, Black Americans are feeling guilty because you don't feel like man, I should put aside these differences. These people are Black like me, and I should but there's a reason. Your gut is telling you, nah, I don't know. I don't like the way they treat us. I'm not feeling this. And there's a reason for that. Okay. And so after walking through this history, I think foundational Black Americans need to be honest about something. Maybe we have misjudged. Okay. Shout out to Eighth and Mason. Maybe we misjudged the Dominicans. Okay. Maybe we've misjudged the Jamaicans. Maybe we misjudged the Haitians. Okay. Maybe me no Black, if we interpret everything through American racial system, we can conclude that the Dominicans distrust Haitians, and their distrust of the Haitians wasn't just colorism. Maybe it wasn't just self-hatred. Maybe it wasn't just anti-prejudice. The same stuff they saying about us now, that we saying y'all need to go home because y'all called us dirty Black Americans. Maybe it wasn't just colorism. Okay? I'm just saying. See, after learning about these invasions and these occupations and this destruction of the Dominican communities and repeated attempts to take back Dominican territory, perhaps the Dominican suspicion didn't come from nowhere. Maybe the neighbors who have lived beside these Haitians for centuries understood something foundational Black Americans were never taught. That's the first conclusion. Shout out to Miss Cognito. I'm just saying. And the second conclusion is a little harder. I want all you Haitians to come to the front of the room. I know you watching this. I know you watching. I've been fair. I'm just reading out the history book. You can read the same thing in here. I want you Haitians to come up here to the front. First generation Haitian, second. Come on, bring your flags out. Maybe you need to look at yourselves. Because see, at some point, every problem can't remain somebody else's fault. If your country has fallen apart, and it has been falling apart since I was a little boy, that's about 50 years ago. You can't dismiss every criticism as racism, my Haitian brothers and sisters. Every closed border can't be explained as colorism. Every disagreement can't be blamed on colonialism. Every negative reaction can't automatically prove that the rest of the world is evil and Haiti is always this innocent victim. France's exploitation of Haiti was real. The indemnity was real. The fact that you had to pay back $95 million was real. Foreign interference is real. American intervention is real. Racism is real. None of that is being erased. But those historical wrongs can't explain every decision made by Haitian politicians and business elites and gangs and institutions and political movements in 2 centuries later. Eventually, Haitians are going to have to be responsible for their own internal issues. Eventually, Haitian people must examine what their own leadership and institutions and political habits and cultural expectations are producing. Again, my Haitian brothers and sisters, when your immediate neighbor distrusts you, you can call your neighbor prejudice. When another country restricts you from entry, you call that government xenophobic. When the other Caribbean brothers and sisters and their populations protest vehemently against the increased migration of your people into their country, you accuse them of lacking solidarity. But when the same type of conflict appears repeatedly across different countries, governments, and communities, then self-examination becomes necessary. At some point, you Haitians have to stop asking only what is wrong with everybody else and begin asking, what are we doing that contributes to these reactions? That doesn't mean every Haitian behaves the same way. I'm not saying that. It doesn't mean Haitian people contribute nothing. Haitians have built businesses, raised families, they've served communities, they practiced medicine, they taught students, they created art, they've become productive citizens throughout the world. But acknowledging individual achievement doesn't prevent us from examining broader political and social patterns. A mature people should be able to celebrate what's admirable and confront what's destructive at the same time. And now, foundational Black Americans are entering the conversation because Haitian voices brought us into it. You all brought us into it. Somebody type dirty Black American in the chat room. Y'all brought us into it. You had a clean slate with us. We accept everybody. All you got to do, you could be Black, barely Black. You got one drop of Black in you. We're going to bring you in. That's us. Hell, you could be a white person to be cool with and know how to do the latest dance, and we'll be cool with you, man. We open the door. Black Americans have traditionally embraced people throughout the African diaspora, hands down. Nobody has done it more than us. You have a clean slate with us. We recognize Blackness before nationality, tribe, language, or island. We've marched for other people. We've defended other people. We've opened our Black college institutions. We've allowed you all to use DEI. What's the name of it? Affirmative act. We ain't tripping because you're Black. But then you attack Black Americans. Think about that. Think about that. Solidarity isn't servitude, and we are damn sure not your whipping boy. We don't owe unconditional loyalty merely because you're Black. We don't owe automatic political support to people who disrespect us. We don't owe emotional protection to people who insult our foundational Black American lineage, our ADOS lineage, our Solon people lineage, our American Negro lineage, our indigenous lineage. We don't owe deference to people who distinguish themselves from us when that distinction makes them feel superior. But all of a sudden, they want to claim racial unity when they need our sympathy, our advocacy, votes, institutions, and protection. You can't have it both ways. You can't say we are Haitian, not Black American. We have our own culture, history, and identity, and then turn right round and demand that Black Americans treat your struggle as our family obligation. You don't do that. Either we are separate people whose relationship must be based upon mutual respect, or we're members of a broader Black family with reciprocal responsibilities. You can't demand separation when it flatters you and unity when it benefits you. Black Americans are not playing that game with you all anymore. And that goes for all of you black folk in the diaspora and the African diaspora. I want you all to be completely clear about what's going on. These United States, this is our country. When you ask us where we from, we're from the United States. When you ask us where we really from, we from Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Georgia, Florida. We from Texas. We from North Carolina. We from South Carolina. We from Tennessee. We from Virginia. This is where we from. Our ancestors built this country under slavery. We defended it in all of its wars. We challenged its constitution. We survived everything it threw at us. We defeated its legal segregation system. We transformed the culture. And we forced its institutions to recognize our rights that they had denied us and accept us for who we are. All you folk who come here from other countries, all you so-called people of color throughout the world, you enter into an America shaped by Black American blood, sweat, and tears. You benefit from the fights that we fought, from the sacrifices we made. You vote and run for president or whatever position you run for because we made that so. Black American culture is American culture. The way you talk, the way you wear your jeans, the way you dress, the way you speak. This is the cultural environment that Black Americans fought generations to establish. That doesn't mean immigrants. We're not saying you owe a submission. We're not that type of people. We're not trying to make you pay an entrance fee. But it does mean that you need to understand whose struggle opened much of the legal and cultural space that you now occupy. The Haitian Revolution didn't pass the Civil Rights Act. It didn't dismantle Jim Crow for us. It didn't integrate American universities, businesses, housing, public accommodations, or government institutions. Foundational Black Americans did all that work right here. So coming into the United States, benefiting from the ground we fought to secure, and then publicly calling us dirty Black Americans, that's not courage. It's disrespect. It's arrogance. And it demonstrates a stunning lack of appreciation for the people whose struggle helped make your life possible. That's why your neighbors, the Dominicans, don't like you. That's why the Haitians aren't allowed in the Bahamas. That's why the Jamaicans keep deporting you back. That's why most of these countries around the world don't accept Haitian visas, because they all feel the same way. So it's not just us. See, the lesson that you Haitians need to learn on the heels of this TPS revocation is when you enter other people's country, you should conduct yourself with humility. You should respect the indigenous population already living there. You should obey the law. You should contribute where you can. You should learn the society. Don't enter somebody else's political and cultural house and insult the family that built it, and then demand protection from the same family when the consequences arrive. Black Americans generally understand that when we travel, we visit, we spend our money, we enjoy the food, we in the culture, we dance, whatever dance y'all dance. We respect the local population, and we get our butts back on them planes and back on them boats, and we come home. We are not a diasporic people. You cannot find a large group of Black Americans anywhere else but America. We're not like Nigerians. We're not like Haitians. We stay right here. And see, what we do is we don't ordinarily arrive believing that the host population owes us anything. Black Americans are not down in Belize trying to vote in their local elections. We're not trying to seek political authority in the Dominican Republic. We're not trying to seek automatic deference in Ghana. And we certainly don't expect somebody to be silent if we over there disrespecting them. And see, that's the lesson that you Haitian commentators y'all need to learn. You need to learn this. This isn't a call for Haitians to hate themselves. And this is certainly not a call for foundational Black Americans to hate Haitians. It's a call for honest national self-examination. What political habits keep producing instability in Haiti? Why have Haitian elites repeatedly failed their own population? Why do the Haitian institutions continually collapse? Why do these armed group of Haitians acquire more authority than the elected Haitian government officials? Why are so many Haitian people forced to seek security and opportunity somewhere else? And why do so many members of the diaspora respond to those failures by attacking Black Americans who had absolutely nothing to do with creating those problems? Insulting foundational Black Americans will not rebuild Haiti. Calling us jealous will not establish public order in your country. Blaming racism for every criticism will not recreate or create functioning institutions. And for heaven's sake, repeating 1804 is not going to govern your country in 2026. At some point, Haitian pride in a revolution that happened going on 300 years ago needs to be matched by responsibility for what exists today. Haiti can't survive indefinitely on the moral credit of defeating the French. A country has got to eventually be judged by what it builds, protects, produces, and provides for its people now. So yes, perhaps Black Americans owe the Dominicans an apology for refusing to hear their side. Somebody type "me no Black" in the chat room, because we know African. We FBA. So us and the Dominicans are in the same category as far as the rest of the diaspora are concerned. They say "me no Black," we say "we no African." We FBA. Me no Black, me Dominican, we no African, we FBA. Same thing. We saw the complexion, we recognized the racial pattern familiar to us, and we assumed we understood everything. We didn't listen to the people who shared the island with y'all and fought wars against y'all and had to deal with y'all atrocities and saw your dirty laundry. I'm not saying that the Dominicans were right about every policy or every prejudice. That's not what I'm saying. The larger point is that the Haitians need to stop treating every criticism as proof that everybody else is the problem. Sometimes the mirror is telling you something, Haitians. When people with different histories, different languages, racial identities, and national interests arrive at the same concern, you can't keep breaking every mirror and claiming the reflection is a conspiracy. Eventually, you need to look at yourself. So my dear Haitian brothers and sisters, and again, I don't know any Haitians. I ain't grow up with Haitians. I didn't go to school with Haitians. I know a couple of Haitians online. I don't know any Haitians. The only Haitians I know are the ones that call us dirty Black Americans, and you make us all look bad. So I got to say something about it. I'm going to talk to you like you need to be talked to. Dear Haitians, stop using foundational Black Americans as a convenient target. Stop demanding solidarity while offering disrespect. And stop using a 200-year-old revolution to escape your present-day accountability and responsibility. Take that revolutionary pride and discipline and courage and determination and direct it toward rebuilding your own nation. And this is where the Dominicans were telling the truth. They weren't necessarily right about every Haitian individual. That's not what I'm saying. They weren't right about every deportation, every insult, every discriminatory policy, or every act of brutality. But They were right that history matters, sovereignty matters, boundaries matter, and people who ignore Haitian political history and don't understand the risk and pressures faced by the country sharing the island. We call Dominican vigilance racism because that was easier than learning the history, just like they calling us protecting our culture racism. Now we're seeing the entitlement. We are seeing the selective aggression that Haitians have directed towards foundational Black America. We are seeing their refusal to accept accountability for themselves. So maybe it's time for Haitian public voices to stop asking why everybody else, particularly foundational Black Americans, is failing Haiti and start asking why Haiti is failing Haiti. Stop insulting Black Americans. Stop demanding unconditional solidarity. Stop using 1804 as a permanent exemption from accountability. Stop treating every immigration restriction as proof of racial hatred. Stop acting as though every country in the region must absorb your people from your failed state. The world doesn't owe Haitian or the Haitian government or the Haitian people anything. We don't owe you a replacement country. We don't owe you open borders. The Bahamas doesn't owe Haiti. Jamaica doesn't owe Haiti. The United States doesn't owe Haiti indefinite temporary status. And foundational Black Americans don't owe nobody nothing. And we definitely don't owe silence to you when you're disrespecting us. See, the answer for Haitians is not to make every other country responsible for Haiti. The answer is to make Haiti responsible for Haiti. Rebuild the police. Rebuild the courts and the schools and the economy. Make it safe so your little girls can walk down the street without getting raped by gang members and thugs. Break the power of the gangs. Confront the political and economic elites who failed the population. Create a country your people don't have to flee. That's what honoring 1804 would look like, not insulting foundational Black Americans who open our doors up and let you in and demanding permanent accommodation from the United States government. Hell, they don't even give us that. And most importantly, stop blaming everybody else for what's going on in your country. Go back to Haiti and make Haiti safe again. Make Haiti governable again. Make Haiti prosperous again. Make Haiti great again. This is Uncle D, and as I always say at this time, I'm out.
In the Spurling podcast, hit the like button, subscribe.